Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Modern Day Debate. Glad to see you all hanging out here for another juicy one. Tonight, we're going to be debating, was the moon landing faked? And to get us started off, we have Dr. Rasa. So you have up to 10 minutes, Dr. Rasa, and the floor is all yours.
Thank you so much. So let me first start off by saying that I hope that you can prove me wrong. This is
Oh,
not a comfortable position.
can you move your mic in just a little bit? You're just coming in a little low.
How's that?
That might be a bit better. Go ahead, sorry.
All right. So let me also start off by saying that I understand why it's hard to accept the fact that they fake these things because myself, I was a student from Portland State University and I was majoring in astrophysics in the 1990s. And then I heard the theory that they faked this moon landing in 2001, and that is very hard for me to believe because myself, being an astrophysics major, I'm thinking, how could they have pulled the sheepskin over so many people's eyes? Millions of scientists over the world believe that it was real. How could they fool everybody? So yeah, it is a very difficult thing, and for myself as a scientist, it's also hard to accept at first. I also want to mention that there is a difference between science denialism and exposing a hoax, right? We're not supposed to talk about FE, but there's, this is an example of science denialism when people deny science. But exposing a hoax is a different thing. I'm going to give an example of the famous, what's called the Piltdown hoax, was when a group of scientists conspired to mislead anthropologists by inserting a fake skull, a monkey human's half skull, and then later it was exposed that these scientists were conspiring to pull off a hoax. So this is, looking through the science. Science is not afraid of analysis and cross-examination. So that there's a difference between science denialism and people who are just looking to expose what might have been a hoax. Now, finally, I also understand why some people would be very offended by this, because if I was to tell you that NASA lied about the moon landings, then you would be offended by that. You would say, "Are you calling me an idiot? How could thousands of scientists fall for this?" And so it is quite offensive when somebody mentions this, and this is one of the reasons why most people don't look into this subject very seriously. It takes a lot of detailed examinations of Apollo images, Apollo videos. It takes a lot of, I mean, I've spent over 20 years looking at very detailed analysis of this. Most people won't do that because the whole thing is offensive to them in the first place. By telling somebody you've fallen for a hoax, it's quite offensive to most people. And then finally, the other point I want to make is that the people in the past who have presented evidence of a hoax have done a very poor job. Let's say that. There's been many documentaries in the past about the hoax, and most of these people who made these documentaries are not scientists, and they have done a very poor job of presenting this. So hopefully today we're going to see a different approach to this, a more scientific approach. Now, finally, the last thing I want to mention here is that I am not speaking on behalf of the Chinese government, okay? I am not speaking on behalf of them. Do you mind if I share screen really quick?
Yeah, for sure. Sounds like we're ready to get into the moon landing arguments there with that preamp. So let's share screen, and you are ready to go.
Okay, so I am showing you now,
We're looking at
hopefully.
a file folder there.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the Chinese government's official statement about the Apollo missions. So if you go to Wikipedia and you look for third-party evidence of the Apollo missions, it says that China has confirmed the Apollo missions were real. And then you click the link on the Wikipedia article and it's a dead link. So I went to the Wayback Machine and I found the article which they were referring to. So here's the quote from the actual Chinese government. I have it written in red down there.
Um,
The
just
scientists,
to confirm with you, we don't see this. What you have your mouse pointed on right there. It's not in big right now, but go ahead and continue on. It's just not on screen. We're
you
looking
can
at
see the Wayback, you can see Wayback Machine, right?
well, we're looking at a file folder right now. This says proofs.
Uh-oh, uh-oh.
I think you might have
Okay.
shared the wrong
Let me,
screen. I thought this was going to open up
yep,
bigger,
yep,
but
yep.
you
Let me
might
try
want to
again.
either pull the file over or just, yeah, try sharing again. No
Yeah,
problem. I will just pause the timer. It's a good time for everybody
no
to
problem.
smack the like button. It doesn't bite, and even if it did, they'd probably like it. So continue on, Roz.
All right, you're seeing it now, right? The Wayback Machine?
Yes, we can see it now.
Okay, so I've underlined in red here. The scientists also spotted traces of the previous Apollo missions in the images. So China has obviously taken images of the Apollo landing sites and even released some images which show some kind of a craft sitting there. Now, this is the official Chinese statement is that we have spotted traces of the previous Apollo missions. Now, they are not saying whether these are traces of a manned craft or an unmanned craft. This is just something has landed there at these Apollo sites. So this is the official Chinese statement is that China is not necessarily saying whether the moon landings were real or fake, but so this there is a so I am not speaking on behalf of the Chinese government because the Chinese government has not said whether they were real or not. They've released some images and they've even taken some laser reflector readings. Let me try to open that one. Just give me a second.
Yeah, you
Okay,
still have 3 minutes and 20 seconds.
no problem. All right, sharing screen again.
It's ready when you are.
So this is,
There you go.
yeah, can you see that?
We sure can. Continue on. Sorry. Oh, I can't hear that. Oh, there it is. I think he's back. I think he's having a freezing issue. Hmm. We'll give Ross a second. We're gonna pause the timer just one more time. Remind everybody once again, hit that like and subscribe. These things happen on the internet. If you're watching on the other channel as well, I don't mind. Let's have fun. But in the meantime, Ross, if you can hear me, it might be a good idea to drop from the Zoom chat and rejoin potentially.
Hi, sorry.
It's okay. Your internet dropped out.
Yeah,
Yeah, so just as you started your screen share. So if you want to
okay.
pop that back up,
Sorry.
we'll carry on.
Right.
No worries.
All right, you're seeing this?
We sure are.
Okay, so this is the Chinese laboratory where we have bounced a laser off of the reflector from the Apollo 15 landing site. Now, I know these as scientists. And again, so China is not saying whether the Apollo missions are real or not. They're just saying that there's a laser reflector there. Doesn't mean that it was placed down by a manned craft or an unmanned craft. So this is China's statement here. I work with these people, so I know about the laser. I know about the moon rocks. I've seen the moon rocks. America gave China moon rocks after the Apollo missions, and we know that these are real moon rocks. But this doesn't mean that human beings went to the moon, because you can place down laser reflectors with unmanned crafts. You can bring back moon rocks with unmanned crafts. So the last thing I want to share here is a short video clip, just a few seconds long. And hopefully I'm going to be able to share this share screen here.
Yep.
Okay.
We're still ready to share
screen
screen
again.
when you are.
All right.
And that's up and running.
So just, it's kind of hard to understand his English, but we'll just listen. It's just a few seconds.
All right, now let's hear some more analysis from my guest here at the studio, Professor Yang Guang from the.
We don't have the audio coming through on our end. You may have to reshare with the audio. I know this isn't working out quite as smoothly as we were hoping, but yeah, we can't hear the audio if that's what you were hoping for.
Which means that the two spacecraft rendezvous and got together in the circular orbit. Even that many people doubt about whether the Apollo program is true or not. One thing is that in 1960 and 70, it's almost unbelievable that the human being can conduct a back in the system orbit.
Okay. Did you say you could hear that or not?
No, we couldn't hear it. I didn't know if it was the scroll that you wanted us to see there, but we couldn't hear that precisely. So if you want to iterate what's happening here.
Yes. Okay. Sorry about that. So this is just recently China launched the Chang'e 6, right? We're trying to now bring lunar rocks back from the far side of the moon. And this is the official Chinese government launch, the coverage, the media coverage of the Chang'e 6 launch. And now in this interview, this Chinese space agency administrator says, and I'm going to quote, he says, "Many people believe the Apollo missions were fake." So he's not saying it was fake. He's just saying many people believe it was fake. And then he went on further to say, it's almost unbelievable that they could pull off a lunar orbit rendezvous in the 1960s.
10 seconds.
So he said it's almost unbelievable. So again, China has not said whether the Apollo missions were real or fake. They're just playing around with these kind of words like many people believe it's fake. We found traces of the Apollo sites. So this is the official Chinese statement. And so I am not speaking on them I'm not speaking on behalf of them in any way. I have a job at a Chinese university, which means I am a government employee, but I'm not a member of the Communist Party or anything like that, and I'm not speaking for them.
All right, thank you. Sorry to cut you off there, Rasa, just as we went a little bit over there and then with the screen shares and whatnot. So I do apologize for that. But yeah, so thank you so much, Rasa, for your introduction. And with that, I will remind everybody that Modern Day Debate is a neutral platform hosting debates on science, politics, religion. We hope everybody feels welcome. Also, we do our super chats at the end. So if you have a question for any of our speakers that you'd like to hear addressed, get them in now and they'll be asked nice and early at the preamp of our super chats. So Master of Ceremonies, Toon, you have 10 minutes on the floor. You are on mute, Mike.
I'm going to share my screen. Are you
we are ready.
Ready? All right.
Up and running, buddy. There you go.
All right. Okay, well, I don't know what how that was evidence for anything, but super. Anyway, not only did we send crafts to the moon, we sent people to the moon. So I will start here with the ISRO, the Indian Space Research Organization. They took photos of the Apollo sites. Now, a lot of people know that the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter has photos of it. That's put up by NASA and managed by somebody else, by Arizona State University primarily. And those photos show things on the moon. And India also shows things on the moon. So the Chandrayaan, sorry if I get that pronunciation wrong, both one and two have gotten photos in 2019. Number two got some very good photos of both the 11 and 12 landing sites. And the first mission, Chandrayaan 1, got the 14, Apollo 14 landing site, and then some other things from Apollo 17. So here is their website where you can actually go and download the raw data. And this is the cool thing. It wasn't the data that ISRO published that I'm about to show you. It's the data that amateurs uh, combed through ISRO's data to find. And over on the right side there is a visualization. It's those the on the left side, the data files you can download. On the right side is a view of the data file you can download. And here is a Reddit conversation on the left, and on the right is one of a lot of different tweets of amateurs. Both of these are amateurs exploring this data. All of these links you can find on my website at mctoon.net/moon. If you want to jump to these and have a look at them yourself, you can do that. So I'll start here. Here is Apollo 11. This is way zoomed in. I zoomed this way in so you can see it here. You can see the square craft there. The left side a little bit angled up is one leg, and then you can see two legs there, top and bottom. You can actually see the shadows of the two legs. And then on the right side, in the shadow, is the right leg. So here is that same photo, zoomed out a little bit, pointing out where the different things are by their shadows. And you can see that the sun is angling steeply from the side. So the craft has a large shadow behind it. You can see on the top left there, the TV camera. On the bottom, you've got the PSE and the, thanks, the PSE, the passive seismic experiment. And on the photograph, that's it right there. That's in the foreground of the photograph. And right behind that on the photograph is the lunar ranging retroreflector. It's a little hard to see. There's that diagonal thing that looks like it's some sort of a pipe that's diagonal, and right behind it, partially obscuring it, is the retroreflector. Farther back, you can see the flag and the TV camera in that photo from the moon. So there we have confirmation that the photograph taken on the moon by humans on the moon matches the same position as the Chandrayaan photographed in orbit of the moon. Here is Apollo 12 site, and you can see this is from India. You can see the actual footprints going across the surface there. They're a little bit hard to see maybe at home, but again, I have links to these on my website, mctoon.net/moon. In fact, over to the right side, it goes off screen a little bit and goes around a larger crater to the Surveyor 3 site. So they landed Apollo 12 near the Surveyor 3 site, and they actually brought, Surveyor 3 was an automated thing. They brought back part of the actual Surveyor 3 unit. And you can see that in it's currently in a museum if you want to go see it. But it goes off screen. You don't see it on the screen there. Here is the LRO's photograph of the same site. I didn't get them to match up exactly. The light is coming from opposite sides, so the craters are inverted and when you look at them, but I'll flip back and forth a little bit. You can see the same footpaths. So there we have third-party independent verification of the actual footpaths by the astronauts on the surface of the moon. Here's Apollo 14, taken by Chandrayaan 1. You can see footpaths there as well. This is a lower resolution camera, but it's there, and you can see it. And then here is an analysis side by side of both the LRO, which is the one that was launched by NASA, managed by Arizona State University, and the India one. of the two sites there, and you can see they match up spot on. You can see footpaths in both of them. And then this is just interesting. They found the Apollo 17 lunar module landing there. This is the ascent stage that land is right. So it went up, it brought them up, and then that part they dropped onto the moon. They found that there on the moon. So anyway, we've got the raw ISRO data that was analyzed by amateurs, and they found 4 different mission photographs. Location, footprint, relation to the surface features, and orientation of experiments placed on the surface match photographs taken during the mission and all confirm that humans were on the moon. So I'm going to stop my share for a second, and then I'm going to, I'll start up a second one here.
Okay, still have 3:10.
3:10, all right.
Pause it for a second here. We had a
Yeah,
couple
give me a
pauses.
second.
It's okay. Once again, big reminder, everybody, we're going to be doing our Q&A at the end of this, and we're going to be launching an open discussion after this. I'll be putting a poll in the chat, so keep an eye out for that, and let us know what you think on our debate topic tonight, and we'll see how things progress as we go along.
All right, here comes the share.
Okay.
Okay, 3 minutes. Here we go. The hammer and feather was done during Apollo 15 or 16. And Apollo 15, it's on screen. They dropped the hammer and feather at the same time, and they both fell at the same rate, confirming that it's in a vacuum. Of course, there's vacuum chambers on the Earth. But did it fall at the rate that it must fall on the moon, or did it fall at the rate that it must fall on the Earth? So here's a quick clip of the video.
In best place to confirm his findings on the moon. And so we thought we'd try it here for you. The feather happens to be appropriately a falcon feather for our falcon. And I'll drop the 2 of them here, and hopefully they'll hit the ground at the same time. How about that?
About that. All right. Well, I did the analysis myself. Other people have done the analysis as well. And could it be in a vacuum chamber on Earth? You could say that. But what about the acceleration? So the frame rate of that video is 29.97 frames per second. I personally counted the number of frames. Could be 35 or 36. That gives it 1.2 seconds of fall time. And the height of the drop is about 4 feet or 1.22 meters. Again, somebody standing there, it's approximate, but we can get in the correct range there. So we can use a kinematic equation to determine the downward acceleration. There's the 4 kinematic equations. We're going to choose number 3 there because we know the initial velocity is 0. We know the time it took, and we know the displacement, so we can solve for acceleration. So there's our givens there in the top left. The first term, velocity 0. Velocity is 0, so that first term goes to 0. And we can solve for acceleration. We have 2 times x over t squared gives us 1.69 meters per second. Squared. Sorry, I didn't put the squared on there. So that's the acceleration, 1.69 meters per second squared. The predicted gravity on the moon is 1.63. So based on our approximation, we're to 2 digits of accuracy there. Gravity on Earth is 9.8, way, way more. So we can be certain that it was not the rate of acceleration for the Earth, and it matches the rate of acceleration for the moon. So we know that people have been on the moon or somehow had on Earth controlled gravity well enough. That'd be quite something. So there you go. That's my 2 topics, and I'll stop the share.
All right, you still have 15 seconds, but yeah, we'll cut it off there, I suppose. Mike, thank you so much for your introductory statement, and also to you, Rasa, for your introductory statement as well. So yeah, we're going to go into an open discussion. If things get too jarred up because of the internet or we just got too much crosstalk, we will move into muted discussion rounds. But I think we're going to have a good time here, guys. Once again, get your questions in early, and they'll be asked early. I see a few coming in already, so thank you to those who have already asked that, and let's go into open discussion, guys. Rasa, over to you to respond to some of what you just heard. You're on mute, Rasa. It is good Zoom courtesy, but sometimes we forget.
Sorry about that.
No worries. You're ready.
Okay, so I'm going to reply to the 2 points he just raised. And let me just share screen here really quick. Okay.
We're ready when you are.
Yes. It's a little slow. So, um,
All right, that's up and running.
yeah. So this is a Wikipedia file of the Chandrayaan-2 craft, which photographed the Apollo 11 landing site. Now, this particular video, if you go to this Wikipedia page, you can find where it came from. It came from a Zoom conference where the Indian Space Agency was presenting this image. Now, this image is obviously different from the ones he just showed because this image has no footprints, and also this is a three-legged craft rather than a four-legged craft. So this is actually proof that they sent unmanned crafts. Now, what happened was when India did this, it was kind of an accident, and NASA got mad at them and said, you weren't supposed to blow the whistle on the Apollo missions. So then India asked them, oh, what can we do to make it up to you? And so NASA said, just release some other images, some photoshopped images, which shows the footprints, which shows a four-legged craft and the Apollo 12 site and blah, blah, blah. So yes, this is the original one, which actually proves that this is an unmanned craft with the 3 legs. This is what actually NASA sent to the moon. And in China, we also have images of the actual crafts which are sitting at the Apollo landing sites. But China is not releasing those crafts, those pictures, because we have agreement with NASA not to blow the whistle on the Apollo missions. So anyway, that's
all right.
my rebuttal.
So just a second here. You being an employee of the Chinese government are doing what you're doing what you said China had just agreed not to do. And you are an employee of the government, so you're completely violating, and you have been for years, what you've said China's agreement is. Obviously, you're lying about that.
Well, no, you said it correct. I am violating. They asked me not to do this, and I'm doing it anyway because
So you are breaking the agreement between China and the United States that you claim exists but cannot provide evidence for. You're lying about that. You're just lying about that, Rasa. You're just lying about it. It's obvious. It's obvious you're lying about it, Rasa.
Okay. Anyway, don't take what I say with a grain of salt. Okay. This isn't about me. I haven't presented any proofs of a hoax yet. So that's what I hopefully can get into next.
No, you already skipped your chance to do that, Rasa. That was the 10 minutes that you spent not presenting any evidence. That was your opportunity to present evidence for this, and you skipped it.
Okay. Anyway, I still have plenty of evidence.
But you skipped that portion of the debate here. You don't know how debates work?
I guess not. So let me reply to the hammer and reply to the hammer and feather thing.
But what? No, let me take you up on the response you did. I presented a photo and you brought up a different photo. Don't care about the different photo. I brought up a very specific couple of photos and you completely ignored them, and instead made a bunch of unsubstantiated claims about the other photo. I don't care about your unsubstantiated claims about the other photo. I would like you to either acknowledge the photos that I took, or perfectly fine if you run away from them and just wave the white flag that you can't address them, other than, of course, unsubstantiated claims.
Right. Like I said, I haven't started presenting any evidence yet, and those images that India released are photoshopped images, but the one I showed you is
will you be providing proof that they are Photoshop images?
No, I'm not.
Of course not. So wave that white flag then again.
Okay. We might need to move into the next zone here. So go ahead, Dr. Rasa. You said you had some new territory to move into. So away with
Yeah.
what we want to do.
Let me just come to the hammer feather thing. So now there's two possibilities. One is that it was filmed in a vacuum chamber on Earth, which it wasn't. And the second possibility is that the feather you see is a fake feather. It's a heavier. They just put a lead inside the center of the feather so it would fall at the same rate as the hammer. So there's two ways to fake that. And then also the other thing we're talking about is he did the math based on the frame rate of the film, and this shows the speed based on the frame rate. But we are being told that that is the frame rate by NASA. So again, this is the fox which guards the hen house. You don't know what actually filmed at, what speed it was filmed at. So anyway,
did you do the analysis then, or are you just making up unsubstantiated claims again?
You're basing your analysis on what NASA said,
Yeah,
the fox which guards the hen house.
Did you then do the analysis for what it would look like, what it would look like if it were, well, you know how fast it would have to go. If you are in fact a physicist, like you claim to be, you could run the kinematic equation and determine the necessary frame rate. If you were a physicist, you could do that. Could you? I mean, have you done? You've certainly done that, right?
It's filmed on Earth, and so they told you what the frame rate was. So then you can use that frame rate to see that it was, that it was filmed on the moon. But that's just taking their word for it.
Okay. Now, so but that we already covered that. I'm asking, did you do the analysis that you are claiming to support your position?
There's no way to do an analysis if you don't know what the frame rate is.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, there is. You don't know that?
Yes.
If you were a physicist, you could do that.
If you don't know if you have no reference of what the speed is, how can you calculate anything?
Because on Earth, we know gravity. What's gravity on the Earth there?
Okay,
what's the acceleration due to gravity on the surface of the Earth?
Okay. So anyway, this
do you not know?
Proof.
Hold on. Do you not know the acceleration due to gravity on the surface of the Earth, Mr. Physicist?
Yes, of course I know.
What is it?
9.8.
Great. Okay. So then what would you do to find out the necessary frame rate of that video given the 9.8 meters per second squared on the surface of the Earth? What's the next step?
Without the frame rate, there's no knowing what anything is.
I could tell you the necessary frame rate because I can do the math, because I can do the physics of it. You claim to be a physicist. Can you do the physics?
Yeah. Okay, so I'm ready to go on to the next
hold on. I'm sorry. I'm not ready to go on. I want you to either tell me the next step that you would do, being that you claim that you're a physicist, or just say that you concede that you don't have an answer to this.
All I'm saying is you're saying this is a proof it was filmed on the moon, and I'm saying this is not proof it was filmed on the moon, because this could easily be faked on Earth.
How would it have been faked on the Earth? And you can't even answer that question.
You drop a hammer and a fake feather, which fall at the same time, and then you tell people, oh, this is the film rate.
Okay, and what would the actual frame rate need to be then? That's what I'm asking you to do. This is a simple thing to do for a physicist.
Right. So the NASA told you the frame rate is 29.7 frames per second, and you use that to calculate that this is the gravity on the Earth.
Yes. Right. Yes, on the moon. On the moon.
So you have the, the variables, the weight of the feather, the speed of the gravity on the moon.
There's no weight involved. Do you think that there's the weight of the feather would be involved in that, and the weight of the hammer would be involved?
Of course, but it's very small.
You've never done kinematics, have you? Mr. Physicist has never done kinematics equations.
I have, but anyway, this is kind of
your claims of credentials are kind of falling apart there.
Okay, well, let's
Okay.
Either keep it on track or move into some new territory.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So now I'm going to finally start presenting some real evidence here. Let's go here to our share screen. And I'm just going to show you a reference here. This is Apollo 12, 24 frames per second, lunar module docking with CM. It's called the Dutch Steam Machine. This is his channel. Now, what he's doing is he's reposting videos from spacecraft films. Spacecraft films was the original DVDs that NASA permitted them to release of the official footage. So this is the Apollo 12 lunar module docking with the command module. And this clip has somehow mysteriously vanished from the NASA web pages. So I'm going to show you, it can fortunately be found here on this YouTube channel. So I'm just going to really quick share screen again. And here is the video. Are you seeing that?
Yep, that's up and running.
So you can watch this dish here, this antenna dish is dangling. Watch it again. It's up, and then it starts wiggling, dangling. So this is proof that it was filmed in Earth's gravity. This could not have happened in a zero-G environment. So you can see that the antenna dish is just dangling. Again, the ship is rotating. I guess they forgot to tighten the bolt, and the antenna just dangles, dangling. Okay, so this is the first proof of a hoax. Anybody have a comment?
All right. Well,
Anybody?
Yes, I was going to say, we'll
Of course
have
I
to
do.
let Mike respond to that, and we'll have to give Mike a little space on the floor there just because we gave you time. So go ahead there, Mike. We'll give you some uninterrupted time.
All right. So you must be claiming that's some sort of a model that is being suspended and then video recorded while it's being suspended and doing that tumble, that forward tumble rotation. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
So here is I got a longer section of the clip, and so I'll play it here. Here you can see the same part that you're playing. There you go. And now it's a longer clip, so I sped up this section here so that we can see more of it in a shorter amount of time. You'll see when it speeds up even more a little bit here. There we go. It's rotating in one axis there, and now it's rotating in a different axis. Here comes. Uh-oh. So, Rasa, I'm going to ask you, how is this model being suspended and rotating in multiple axes while it's being suspended in
Yeah.
Earth's gravity? Could you explain how that happens?
Yeah, Hollywood does that all the time. It's not a big
Yeah.
mystery.
So yeah, don't just say Hollywood does it. I want the specifics, please. How is it that this model is being suspended? Because if it's going to be rotating in one axis, for example, let's say
Yeah.
we've got the craft here in one axis, and it's rotating like this, right?
This.
It's going to have wires on either side. That's what you're claiming, right?
No.
Wires on either side, and so then
No,
it
I didn't.
rotates this way. Well, that's what it has to be. You're saying it's
No.
suspended.
It
Well,
could
how's
no,
it?
I didn't say it was.
How's it
There
being
was
suspended?
there could be a crane in the back which is able to move it. It's not wires necessarily.
It's not wires. But we see
I never
in
said
the clip,
wires.
we see all sides of it. Have you not watched the entire length of the clip? We see all
Yes,
sides
it
of it.
could be
It's not
faked. It could be faked with the
how.
Hollywood
How was it
crane.
faked? I don't care.
A
It
crane.
could be faked is not an argument.
Right.
Here is how it
Anyways,
was faked, and here's evidence for it. Is an argument. So here we have it. We've seen it in the clip before the portion that you showed, before the portion that I showed. We see it coming up from below, and we see different sides of it there as well. So it does a twist in one axis, right? And then it does a twist in another axis. How is it being held up? How is the crane if the crane is stuck to the back of it and it's going like this, right? How did it do that? The crane's on the wrong side now. The crane, you don't see the crane from behind. You don't go coming to the front. How was it done? Very specifically,
Yes.
prove your claims.
Okay. Also, let me mention that you totally ignored the fact that the antenna is dangling in Earth's gravity. You just
I'm
went to a
waiting. I'm
different point.
waiting.
It's the ship.
I'm
I'm
waiting.
waiting for you
I'm
to address the antenna
yeah.
dangling, which you
They
didn't
they
do.
they yes. So that is the S-band antenna, and it is an automatic one that will automatically move to face the Earth, or they can move it manually. So and they talk about it in, I think, Apollo 16. They talk about that they have sometimes troubles with it moving. And so there's a stop on it, though. It'll only go a certain direction. So that what you saw there is that it was being moved and it hit that stop and it went back and forth between the stop and where it was at in the motor pushing it. So that's not difficult. But what really is the difficult part is how did it move in all of those directions and you don't have any answer for that.
Okay. So next point here is the famous ladder jump. So again, this is the spacecraft films. The video is Apollo 15 video, blah, blah, blah. So this guy posted the spacecraft films on his channel. And we're going to show the clip now, hopefully.
Yep, we are ready to share when you are.
Okay. All right, so this guy is getting ready to jump up onto the ladder. Let's watch it. He's jumping, he's dangling in the air. His feet are not even on the ladder. And now he gets his feet on the ladder. So he's dangling in the air, his feet are not on the ladder. Aha, now his feet on the ladder. Dangling, dangling. Okay. Any replies?
How many rungs are on that ladder?
Yeah, I don't know. He jumped up to what, the third rung or something?
Did you count how many rungs are on that ladder? Do you know where the bottom rung is on that ladder?
Mm-hmm. So what does that have to do with him dangling in the air?
Oh, it's very important. Do you know how many rungs are on the ladder? I do. Do you know where the
Okay.
bottom rung is on that ladder? I do. See, I didn't just watch that clip, the one from Mr. Gorski. And if you know the story behind Mr. Gorski, good on you. So you don't know where the bottom rung is. You didn't look at it, right? If you watched the clip before then, you can see different portions of the rungs, the ladders, because the lighting is different. They move the camera before he goes up there, and you can actually see where the rungs are. You can count all of them, all of the number of rungs that you didn't count, but I did count. And I counted, and I know exactly where the bottom rung is. And his left foot landed on the rung, on the bottom rung. And his right foot was off to the side. So he wasn't dangling there. He was holding himself up with his hands and his left foot.
Okay. So it's just a matter of personal opinion whether he landed on his foot was on the ladder or not.
I did my research. I know how many rungs there are, and I know where the bottom rung is. And I looked where his foot was, and I looked where the bottom rung is from prior in that same video, and I know exactly where his foot went on the bottom rung.
Okay, thank you. So next, this is another video clip. Again, this is a spacecraft films original. You can find these clips on the NASA webpage. It doesn't matter whether they come from YouTube or not. So this is Apollo 16, Lunar EVA-1. And I'm going to show hopefully this very short clip.
Yep, we have it ready to share when you are.
Okay. Okay. So he falls down and the other guy's trying to help him up. Now watch his feet. His feet jump up. You know, he's lifted up. So you can see he's lifted up because his feet are just yanked up. But watch the other astronaut's hand as he helps him. He puts his arm down there to pretend to lift him up, but he's not actually even touching the other astronaut. He's pretending to help him up, but it's actually the stage wires which are lifting him up. You can see his hand is not even helping him up. He's just yanked up by stage wires. Okay, so that's any replies here?
How did he fall down if he's being held up by wires?
Yeah, the wires are sometimes loose. The wires can sometimes pull
Why
you
are they
up.
sometimes loose if they're trying to simulate, as you say, as you have to say, that they're trying to simulate something? Why would they be loose? They would not be loose. They could not be loose because as soon as they're loose, they're no longer simulating what they're supposed to be simulating. So as soon as they go loose, everything is wrong and it wouldn't work if this is what they're doing. What actually happened is they're on the moon. Gravity is significantly lower, and you don't quite see what he's doing because his feet are a little bit out of frame. But he's on his knees, and he's got his toes on the ground, and he's simply straightening out his leg, and that pushes him up because he's got the backpack on, so his center of balance is behind him, and his legs can straighten him up. With normally you'd get shoved forward, but with the center of gravity behind him, moved back. I don't know if it's outside his body or not, but it's he's launching himself up with that. So the hand is more stabilization than anything. He's actually lifting himself up. Gravity is 1/6 of what it is on the Earth. So it shows a really good example of lower gravity. So confirmation actually that they were on the moon.
Okay, thank you for that. So let me just share another clip here. Okay, yeah. Here is the, let me just skip that for save time. Okay, can you see this one?
Ready when you are.
Yeah. So here's another NASA clip, and you can see here the actual wire, which is holding him on the backpack, which is of course separate from the antenna. The antenna is that one white line on the right, and the wire is the line on the left. So you can see as he's turning, there is a glare from that stage wire connected to his backpack. So this is, again, any comments there?
Why would the wire be going diagonal? That would be that'd be pulling him the wrong direction. But what you're seeing
Right.
there, are you familiar with discrete cosine transforms, Mr. Physicist?
Yes, go ahead.
Are you familiar with discrete cosine transforms?
Yes.
You are. And what's it used for in this instance?
I'm not sure. I mean, so the guy is here, and the wire, the wire is, he's coming away from the central point where the wire is. He can move around under this wire. Anyway,
Well, that wouldn't work very well. The wire, it'd pull him back. But the discrete cosine transform is what's used in the MPEG compression. So you're seeing MPEG compression artifacts. So there's the corner of his suit there, his corner of his backpack has a large light source on it, and that is coloring the box, the rectangle that is being compressed. So if you had a different compression of the original, you would see a different artifact there if it was a higher quality, or maybe used a different type of compression.
Right.
So
that's a
that's
good
simple.
point.
That's simple MPEG compression.
It's a good point, because there are other moon landing researchers who presented what they claim to be a wire. But yes, you're right. This is an MPEG compression. If it's a straight line, or it could be a video thing. But if the wire's coming like that, it's not the MPEG compression. So anyway, I specifically chose that one because the wire is coming at an angle not to straight, where it could be an MPEG compression artifact.
MPEG compression isn't, that's not how it works. MPEG compression identifies differences, and it's not perfect, and the higher the compression, the less perfect it is. So when there's it does things on where it's moving, and when a something has left the area where it's where the background is now static, it doesn't update those frames until it hits a keyframe, which can be pretty far between depending on how compressed they're trying to get it. So as it smears across that rectangle, it colors the rectangle and it leaves it there until it gets to the keyframe.
Okay, thank you for that. So let me just share a few more. Hopefully.
Yep, you're up.
You can see this again. This is Apollo 15. You're seeing this, right?
Yep, we can see that. Our audience too.
Okay, I'm just showing the references here where you can find these videos. You can also find them on the NASA webpage. The only one you can't find is this Apollo 12 docking scene because NASA hid that one. They're afraid that people will find that. So,
do you think that NASA is unaware that the Wayback Machine exists?
right,
You must think that they don't know it exists.
right, it's there, but
Yeah.
it's not on the Apollo.
But do you think that NASA is unaware that it exists? I mean, that seems to be the foundation of your claim. Like, they are trying to hide it, even though it's been on their site and it's on, the Wayback Machine, archive.org. I mean, if NASA was trying to hide it, you'd think they would go over to the guys over at archive.org and say, hey, psst, can you delete that too? But no, they didn't do that. It's still there. NASA knows that site exists. So saying they are trying to take it down, no. There's lots of things that when they update their website didn't get up to the new website. There's a huge amount of data and not everything made it.
Okay. Like the Apollo 12 docking scene, it's not on the Apollo.
But you can still get it. Yeah, NASA's aware that people can still get it. There's lots of copies.
Okay. All right, so the next scene, we're coming to this rover traverse. And I'm just going to, I'm pointing out the places where there is a missing delay time. So let me clarify this. So if somebody on Houston, on the Earth, sends a message to the moon, then the reply from the moon is going to take 2.6 seconds to come back. It means 1.3 seconds for the question to reach the moon and 1.3 seconds for the answer to come back from the moon. So I'm going to point out a couple places where that delay time is missing.
Dave, we want you to head toward Station 4, and we will advise you on what your rate looks like and the task that we want you to carry out once you arrive. Just start off in the direction of Station 4, please. Give me a heading.
So again, he replied, okay, give me a heading. Very quickly. There was not a 2.6 second delay there.
Are you not sending audio?
Oh, sorry. God. Okay, I guess that's not going to work. There's some problem here with the audio. Okay, anyway, so let's just skip that point. Let me just say that if you can find this rover scene, again, just share. So this is the spacecraft films original, which this Dutch steam machine posted on his channel, and this is the one where if you listen to the conversation, when the Earth says something, the moon replies immediately, and that cannot be possible because it's going to take at least 2.6 seconds for the reply to come from Earth. So if you're interested in researching this, you can go to this video, or you can just buy Spacecraft Films DVD and you can listen to the original unedited versions.
So to address that anyway,
Mm.
where was the audio recorded?
On Earth.
Yeah, okay. And where was the video recorded?
In a studio somewhere
No.
and played back.
Where was the video recorded?
I mean, they say it was recorded on the moon, right?
Yes. All right. So the recording locations of those two are different places, and then they're synced up after the fact. So there has to be editing between the video and audio because they're not originally recorded together. So somebody must sync them up in post-production. That's the only way to do it because they're recorded at two different places. So unless you have some sort of a guarantee that they hit play on the video and they hit play on the audio and did nothing with them at all, then all that you're doing is evaluating their ability to do that post-production.
Okay, let me
Right.
make sure I understand that point. So, from what I understood, the official story is that this was recorded live. Houston was talking to the moon, right?
I don't think I need
I,
to inform you on those types of things, do I?
right. So where would the video editing be necessary?
Well, the video was recorded on the moon and then
Uh-huh.
brought
And the
back
audio. Okay.
days
Uh-huh.
later to the Earth. The audio was recorded on Earth in probably Houston, right? And then
They
some
sync
number
the
of
video.
days, weeks, months later, finally, the video and audio were brought together. And for the DVD, many years later, somebody digitally put them together in some sort of a video editing suite. That's how you'd have to make a DVD. There's no other way to make a DVD than in a video editing software of some sort, right? So here's the audio. There you go. Here's the video. There you go. So then they had to put those together somehow. And they don't have, there's no unified recording of it. They had to manufacture that. That's the only way to do it because they were recorded on separate medium.
Okay. So you're saying they might have deleted that gap to make the audio fit with the video.
We don't know, and you didn't do any analysis to find out whether that was the case.
Right. Okay, it's a good point. It's a good point. All right. So let me now share the screen again. We've got a.
That's up now. We can see that.
So we've got two different shadow lengths. His shadow is much shorter than his shadow. And the reason why that's possible is because when you're standing under a stage light, the person who's closer to the stage light will have a longer shadow than the person not standing so directly under the stage light. So this is again Apollo 11 video. I'm going to show a few more examples of this. Here's some Apollo 12 clips. So
wait, go back to that. Go back to that previous one.
Yes.
That one.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Oh, hold on. Let me get a screenshot of that. That's good. All right.
Okay. Next one. So again, here's Apollo 12. So the light source is over here onto the right. And when he moves closer to the light source, his shadow is longer. And when he moves farther away from the light source, his shadow is shorter. Here's another one, Apollo 12. Now the light source is on the left. When he's closer to the light source, a long shadow. When he moves further away from the light source, it's a shorter shadow. Again, here's Apollo 11. You can see when he moves closer to the light source, a very long shadow. And the other guy who's farther away from the light source is a shorter shadow.
So I asked you to bring up that diagram because it's dramatically wrong. But yeah, I'll bring up a similar one.
Okay.
That's got it right. I don't know why you'd think that, but Look at this. The nearer one is going to have a shorter shadow.
Who made that? That's totally wrong. The person closer to the light source would have a longer shadow.
Oh my gosh.
I know that image you just showed because that's why I edited it. I edited it because the person who'd made that was wrong.
This is very easy to see. Yeah, I know you edited it, and you made it wrong. You, can you even solve a triangle? Can you? If I gave you a triangle, could you solve it?
Of course.
Of
It's
course.
not a triangle. It's not a triangle. It's about the direction of
You don't see the triangles that
the
are there?
light source.
You don't see the triangles that are there?
Go ahead.
Do you see the triangles that are formed there by that?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So that near one, the light is coming down at a steep angle where the guy is standing next to the light. And since the light is coming down at a steep angle, the base of that triangle is going to be smaller. And the guy that's farther away from the light, farther away, the base of the triangle is going to be longer. So you edited this diagram to make it wrong.
Or make it right, depending on how you understand.
No. But let me get yours up. That's amazing that you grabbed that and you totally hijacked it. Amazing. All right, hold on. Let me get that here. So I notice that you did not connect the lines. You see on this one here, the line goes from the light to their head to the head of the shadow. And in your version, you don't do that. You have you have it all wrong. So deceptive. You have it from the light to the guy's head on the left to his crotch on the shadow. It doesn't match. The shadows don't match. And then the guy that's farther away, it goes from the light to his midsection to a point on the ground farther away than his head. You've debunked yourself here by your lie of this diagram. That's despicable.
Right,
well,
anyway,
Marcus Allen made this video. Props to him for getting it correct. And shame on you for lying about it here, Rasa. That's disgusting. Cool. Absolutely disgusting.
I didn't know that was Marcus Allen. Thanks. I'm going to talk to him about that, because he got it wrong.
So, but we can see right here, the light to the head of the shadow doesn't match for the guy on the left, and it doesn't match for the guy on the right on your lying version of it. But on this one, the correct version of it, the light to the head of the person to the head of the shadow matches. Man, that's low. Okay. That's low that you intentionally did that. And now that I've called you out live about it, you're still lying about it. That's low.
Okay. So next point, I think we're ready.
You want to go to the next point after being exposed for lying about this? Wow.
Sure.
Wow.
I'll talk to Marcus and he'll vouch for me that I got it right. His is wrong. Of course,
Marcus will vouch for you.
Wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't draw the lines right.
I know the lines aren't right. It's just that was a quick Photoshop job.
Draw the lines right. You won't be able to do
Okay, it. I can do another one. But anyway, let's go to the next point if you don't mind.
Sure thing. Just before you start the screen share, I will remind everybody we're having a lot of fun. This is just rolling along, and we're going to keep it going as long as we can, and we will get into your super chats when that time becomes available. I'm going to close the poll for now, and we'll see how things are at the end of our discussion. I see over 500 people voted in the poll. Just a little under 600 people are watching right now. So I just want to remind everybody, if you have thumbs, if you like what you're hearing, even if you don't like what you're hearing, hit the like button, because you know what? Boosting this up in the algorithm, get more conversations out in the air. It's fun. And let's carry on.
All right. So here is two different images. The picture on the right is when the Apollo 17 rover pointed the camera towards the Earth. And the picture on the left is when the Apollo 17 astronaut took his Hasselblad and took a picture of the Earth. And these images were taken about the same time, both on EVA3. But as you can see, the cloud pattern on Earth is completely different between these two images. And also happened on Apollo 11. Here's Apollo 11 video taken halfway to the moon. Here's Apollo 11 photo taken halfway to the moon. And the cloud patterns are totally wrong.
Are you gonna source the photos and video?
No, I mean, you can, anybody who's interested in researching these things can find where I'm pulling these
Are you gonna
from.
cite the specific Apollo IDs for those?
The Apollo 11 was when they were supposedly halfway to the moon and they pointed the camera out the window.
No, but each photograph has a specific ID. Can you
Right,
cite
right.
those, please?
Right now, I it's just kind of trying to go quickly here. So
Okay.
anybody who's
But
interested
Rasa,
can find these.
I've obviously Rasa, I'm familiar with your stuff. And
Mhm.
obviously, Rasa, I've heard you multiple times say to people, to your people, it's very important that when you use an image, use a photograph, that you use the ID. You've said that
Right.
yourself.
Yes.
And here you are not having it. Why
Right.
not?
I can tell you, it's just right now I don't have it with me, but if you're
Got
interested,
it.
I can send you
Super.
the image
Send an
link.
email. You know my email address. So, and then we can actually do an analysis to find out what time each of those was taken,
That's a
right?
good idea.
Hopefully.
That's a good idea.
Because just saying it's about the same time doesn't work. It
Right.
reminds me of when Dave Weiss showed a picture he claimed was on NASA's website of Apollo 9 of Earthrise. And of course, Apollo 9 didn't go to the moon. And it was actually a photo from Apollo 11. And he also in the same meme had a picture of Apollo 12 that he said was Apollo 12, and he said it was on NASA's website, but it wasn't. It was Apollo 11 as well, but he had labeled it Apollo 12. You see, I'm not going to take your word on those things, Rasa.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, there's a lot of very poor researchers who provided
I'm
fake
looking at one right
information.
now.
All right, so next one. Now I'm going to present, hopefully you can see this. So,
Yep.
can you guys see that?
That's up and running
So
now.
it says, what does it say? The effect of space radiation on flight film. Not going to read this whole thing, but the shuttle, this is September 1995. The shuttle, on the space shuttle, they were doing a test on the effects of radiation on the space flight films. Now, my question is, in low Earth orbit, the radiation was destroying the films, causing it to blur and to become foggy. But yet, we can travel all the way to the moon, and the images on the film come out picture clear.
Can you give me the DOI for that
Uh,
paper?
yeah, it's a NASA. You can find it on the NASA. It's just the effects of space radiation on flight film. You search that name. This is a
And
NASA
and
document.
and what did they find?
It found that they put the film in different lead boxes to see if that could help protect the film, and it was still fogging. The lead box didn't help. It's a long study, and they many different
And
controls.
how long was that film in the lead box there being exposed?
Right. There's a, this is an
Well, if you read the
ISS
paper,
mission, so
you'd know if you read the paper because
right.
you're citing it as evidence. How long was it in those lead boxes, as you said?
Yeah, for the whole
Days,
flight.
weeks, months? The whole flight,
Yeah,
or
weeks.
was it on the ISS? Did they bring
You're,
it to the ISS and drop it
no,
off?
this is space shuttle
It was
flight.
just on this shuttle.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, and all right. Well, but you don't have the DOI. Cool. All right.
I can send it to you later.
Okay, got it. I'll look for that as well.
All right. So now coming to the next point, if you don't mind, we've got a question here. Is this so? The surface glare is lighting up the silhouetted side of the ship, right? This side of the ship is supposed to be dark, but because of surface glare, his lit up. The ship is, but on this image, the silhouette side of the ship is completely dark. Okay, so what's going on here? Is the surface glare lighting up the side of the ship or not? So, in order to answer this question, we're going to have to go to Internet Archives, and we can see the photoshopped image compared to the non-photoshopped image. And we can see the release date. This was added to the internet 2010, and this was added to the internet 2009. So we can see here, Internet Archives proves that the non-photoshopped images comes before these nice photoshopped images where they filled in the backside, they filled in this side of the ship. Okay, so there's a lot of these where here's the non-photoshopped image of the man standing under the spotlight. You can see how the dark is all black, which wouldn't happen under sunlight. And here's the photoshopped image. Oh, nice and filled in the background. And add date 2010 for the photoshopped, 2009 for the non-photoshopped. Go a few more. Here's another one. Here's the photoshopped image. And here's the photoshopped image 2010, the non-photoshopped image 2009. And last but not least, we have this is where they removed, this is the famous C rock, where there was a C on the rock here, and they realized they screwed up. So then they edited this. So 2009 was the non-photoshopped image. And then later, here was just 3 days later, they uploaded the new photoshopped image where the C has been nicely removed from the rock. Okay. Any comments?
So now you do know how these photographs were originally taken, right? You know that they are on analog film.
Right.
Right. And what process do you imagine that they might use to get that analog film up on a website?
Yeah, they're going to scan it. That's why, like, for example,
they're going to scan it into what? What will they scan? What will then be receiving it?
Right.
A digital photo manipulation software.
Right.
Right.
Photoshop.
Yeah. And Photoshop is one of them. It's certainly the most well-known and most heavily used. So the fact that they did it in Photoshop and then used Photoshop to publish things on their website should come as a surprise to who? Exactly nobody. It's 100% mandatory for a scanned analog slide to go through some sort of digital image editing software in order to prepare it to be put up on a website. So it's not a surprise. You didn't find a smoking gun that they use Photoshop to do exactly what they use Photoshop to do, put images on websites.
Right. If you go to the NASA Flickr account and you download those images and you right click on the image, it says there that this image was made with Photoshop. That's how they scanned it.
No surprise at all.
No surprise there. But the question is, what is the difference between just scanning the image and then manipulating it to fill in the proofs of a hoax there, filling in the background, filling in the silhouette?
Do you not know? You don't know?
Go ahead.
Do you not know this? I mean, it sounds like you're just asking for me to give you some free education, and I'm happy to do that because the audience also gets a little bit of education as well. So I will happily do that. Let's put this on here. I happen to have Photoshop, and now I don't know if you seem, are you aware of the Arizona State University March to the Moon website?
Probably, yeah, I've seen it.
Probably. But do you know what's on there?
It's been a long time that I really looked at these things, but go ahead.
Oh, all right. I'm not convinced, but okay. So here I have, okay. I'm preparing. I have I have Photoshop up right now. So I'm gonna do a little demonstration of Photoshop live for everybody. So give me a second here.
Yes, take your time. I just put
Here
a
comes the share screen
new
there,
poll in the
Ryan.
chat. No worries.
All right. Do you see Photoshop there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this is, I went to March to the Moon, which is the highest resolution scans ever done. And when they did the scans, they specifically used a scanner that had a higher resolution than the grain size of the individual grains of the photo on the slides there, the photographic slides. So this is here the unmodified version of the file, the TIFF file, the uncompressed TIFF file. It's about, I don't know, it's a large file, more than a gig in size. This is what it looks like unmodified. I have not changed the exposure setting at all. This is what you get. So now if they were to just scan this and drop it up there on the website like this, anywhere, what would people say? They'd say that's too dark. But that's the default. That's what it looks like. So then over here on the right side, you can see I can slide around the exposure. You see that? Moving it up a little, move it down a little. All I'm doing is changing exposure. Now, when you do an import from a slide like this, you have to do something. You could just do auto if you wanted, and it would do something in this range here. But every time you do a different software package, it's going to come up with a different version of auto. And every time you do a scan, it's going to be different because in order to scan this, you have to have a backlight. So there's a light behind the physical slide that's shining up through the slide to the sensor. And how bright that light is different for every scanner. And how sensitive the CCD on the scanner is different for every scanner. And how each individual piece of software does any either auto exposure or how an individual might choose to do the exposure if it's an individual that's choosing to do it. I might leave it like this. Somebody else might say, no, this is better. So you have a wide range of different exposures that you might say. Now, right, obviously that gets a little too broad, too bright, but that's what you have to do with the digital import from the scan.
Can I ask a question now?
Uh-huh.
So here it looks like a man standing under a spotlight to me. So do you know how to fill in the background so it doesn't look like a man standing under a spotlight?
I suppose if people wanted to do that, they could.
Yeah. So you would take the lasso tool and you would lasso the parts you don't want to change, and then you change the part like the background.
Have you used Photoshop a lot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I could definitely, so it looks like a man standing under a spotlight, and I could fill in the background so it looks like the new NASA images.
Yeah, which is the lasso tool, right? Obviously, you've used a ton. You've used it a lot. You know that's the lasso tool is the way to go, right? Seriously.
Yeah,
right.
so you can lasso the parts you want to manipulate. And
here's the one. Here's the one I downloaded as you were talking about it. I downloaded this one. I just imported it. Look at that.
mm-hmm.
Look how dark that is. This is the one that you just referenced. AS 1140-5948.
Mm-hmm.
I downloaded this on the fly here. Man, that looks a little a little bit dark, doesn't it? Let's try a little exposure here.
Do you know the date of these when they were uploaded?
It doesn't matter what date they were uploaded.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter at all because we know that they were scanned with different scanning processes. They were edited and prepared for the website using different processes. So it doesn't matter the date. Each one is going to be different. We know that. That's not a surprise. You didn't find anything that shocks anybody.
It does matter the date because what NASA's trying to do is they're trying to claim the photoshopped images were the real originals. But with Internet Archives, we can see
the real original. The real original is the physical slide that's in the archive, the physical archive in Houston, Texas. So
Right. So
if you wanted to actually do some forensic analysis, the simple way would be to get the uncompressed TIFF, which is what I have right here on screen right now. I have the uncompressed TIFF.
which
Or
you don't know the date for.
if of this one, I think their
Yeah.
2009 was when this set was scanned in. Or if you really were interested, and I don't know, maybe no hoaxers have ever done it. Maybe they have tried to say, hey, we would like to go and we would like to go to the actual physical slides and have a look at the actual physical slides. So we're going to bring our forensics team, we're going to bring our experts on the topic, and we're going to have a look at it and do some analysis on the actual physical slides. I don't know if anybody's ever tried to do that. I don't know of anybody having done that, but I don't know all there is to know about this. Maybe it has been done. So I would be interested to see that. But the question you asked, and it's a fair question, and I'll zoom in here on this because you said, how come on the one photo, and this is Apollo 11, and the other one was Apollo 11 as well. How come on the one photo we can see the lander lit up, right? Like here I'm zoomed into the lander. And how come in the other one we can't? That's because of photography, if you understand photography. So here, this is blowing out the blacks a little bit. And I could fix that. I'm not going to fix the blacks, but you can see here being closer and focusing just on this part here, you can now see it. Now, if the camera were closer to it and it was exposed differently, then this could be exposed correctly for this side of the lander. But it wasn't. This photograph wasn't photographed for this side of the lander. This photograph was exposed for this entire picture here, specifically probably for the foreground where the astronaut is there.
Right. So you just increased the contrast or what, the brightness, and it
Exposure.
brought out exposure.
Exposure.
So you brought out that side of the ship, but in order to bring out just one side of the ship while not changing the rest, you would have to lasso tool that section you want to increase the exposure and
Well, no,
right.
I would, the other photo you brought up, which was physically closer to the lander, the actual physical photograph was exposed differently than this actual physical photograph. And that's the first step of the whole thing that's dramatically different. And you can't change that digitally. There's things you can do to try to get around it. But in reality, since it was exposed from the beginning on the actual physical film correctly for the lander there at close range, the details are there and it's exposed correctly for it. So the same amount of light is hitting the lander in both of these instances, but the exposure of the camera and the film is different.
Right. Okay, so let me jump to the next point because we're God, not I don't know how much time
How
we
many?
have.
You're just gonna plow through every single point. These were really supposed to be what you were doing in your first 10 minutes. And I think you've gone
It's a
way
lot
past
longer
your
than
first
that.
10 minutes worth of evidence presentation, and I've dissected every one of these pretty easily. So I thank you for that.
Well,
All right,
if
let's
you're
keep
up
going.
for continuing,
Ah,
it's no skin off mine. I got an open morning tomorrow, so you're not in a hurry, are you, Mike?
I mean, I got things to do.
You got things to do. You got to use the
Yeah.
washroom right quick. You can
That's
take a
not
second.
that's not the thing I need to do.
Okay.
Apparently people have said that my bladder is has no ends. How can he do a 4-hour stream drinking all of that Toonshine and never go to the bathroom? I don't know.
They all told me their secret catheter. No, I'm kidding. All right, so let's carry on. Oh, that's terrible.
How
How
about
can
one
we
more here?
recover from that? My goodness.
Let's go one more.
okay,
All right, one more.
here we go with this is really the final smoking gun here. So this is the Surveyor 3 craft, right, which took photos of itself after it landed on the moon. And this is the landing pad, and you can see the legs going down to the landing pad. And this leg is a white paint, and this leg is a chrome color. Again, here's the landing pad, the white leg, the chrome leg. Here's again the landing pad, the white leg, chrome leg. Here's the scooper with the white leg, the chrome leg. And now we're coming here to the Apollo 12 image where the leg is all of a sudden white. It's not chrome color anymore. So they really screwed up here. They the craft which they used for their Apollo 12 mock-up had a white legs, whereas the
Apollo
real Surveyor,
12?
right, Apollo 12 is when they landed next to the
Yeah.
Surveyor 3,
Yeah.
right? So again, we've got, this is the Surveyor 3. It took photos of itself as it sits on the moon. And so this is like a solar panel box. I think it's guarding the batteries. And here's another solar panel
And
box.
when did it take that photograph?
In 1967, I believe,
Okay.
Surveyor 3. And then here's another picture. Here's again a close up of the little solar cells there. And now Apollo 12. Wait a minute. This is a different surveyor craft that they're using here. These panels here are not the same as, this is the actual surveyor, which actually took pictures of itself. And here's the Apollo 12 images. It's the wrong landing pads, the wrong legs, the wrong solar panels. There's more of these. Here's
Right,
the
so,
final.
could you explain to me what was the camera that Surveyor 3 used to photograph itself? What type of camera?
Right. Let me just come to that last point because this is the end of it. We've got. So here's the camera, which supposedly Apollo 12 astronauts brought back to Earth. And there's many, many different pictures of this camera after it was brought back to Earth. You know, as he said, it's still sitting in a museum today. So, but this comes from the NASA document, which says the Surveyor 3 television camera as it was unbagged at the LRL after its return from the moon. So this is the first image after it was taken out of the bag. And you can see here this aluminum wrapped around this. This is just like some kind of a rope or tether or something. I don't know what it's for, but they put aluminum around this. But here on this image, the aluminum is a different place. Here it's got some kind of a hold off, and then there's something under here, and then the aluminum. But on the moon, all of a sudden, the aluminum goes all the way up to this. So this is, to me, it's a very clear proof that this is the different, they really screwed up here. The camera which they supposedly brought back to Earth is a different one from what they took pictures of supposedly on the moon.
All right, so back to my question. What type of camera? What are the specifications of the camera that the Surveyor 3 used to take photographs of itself?
Right, so there's like some kind of a camera here. There's a mirror inside. They can angle the mirror. Anyway, go ahead.
No, I'm asking you for the specifications because certainly being a physicist, wanting to be a scientist and being scientific about it, you will control the confounding variables, right? So what was the details of the camera that they used? In your investigation of this, certainly you did that, right?
No, in my investigation, I can see that this is a different camera on the moon than the one at Earth.
Okay, but I'm back to the first point, the first part of your thing here. Maybe you want to go back to the photographs that it took of itself, the selfies.
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
You don't want to bring up those selfie photos?
I can bring
All right,
can bring it.
My point is
I'm
I'm asking you for the details of the camera so that we can know, and it seems to me that you did nothing to determine what type of camera and what capabilities that camera had. Certainly it was sending photographs back to Earth. It was not developing photographs on film and then shipping them in a container, FedEx down to the Earth. it had to broadcast them. And it did that when it first went there, and then it shut down once it hit lunar night, right? So it was active about 2 weeks, right? That's how long Surveyor 3 was active. Surveyor
Mm-hmm.
3? Yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
so some sort of a scan and send photograph, and of course it's black and white. Now, in the 2 to 3 years that happened between when it landed and when Apollo was there, things degrade because it's a harsh environment there. And have you read the actual transcript? I did. I read the transcript of when they went to go grab the thing from Surveyor. At first, they thought it was Brown, and that's because he had his visor up. So or his visor down. So he lifted up his visor so you could get an untinted view of it. And he's like, "Oh, it's covered in dust." They say that in the actual transcript. It's covered in dust, and so they brush it off and stuff. And the paint degraded, and that the camera isn't the only thing they brought back. I think they brought back like some sort of a plate that they disconnected and brought back, and all the paint that was on it was heavily degraded. So yes, unsurprising that something exposed on the moon will have its paint changed over the course of a couple of years sitting on the moon there. Exactly what you expect, exactly evidence that they had it on the moon. Now that little piece of tinfoil, your one photo of it has a dramatically different angle looking at it than the other. I think it's a little, and the one that you had is very pixelated. The one on the right side of your photo, heavily pixelated. So a very difficult comparison to do there. I don't know if there's other photographs of it where you can actually see head on instead of at that steep angle. That would make more sense to analyze. But I think that's a little bit of a stretch to say that the tinfoil is slightly different.
All right, let me just give my last little point here, because it's coming back to this Surveyor 3 thing. Let's just share one last image here. Okay, so here is the scooper arm. I guess you can call it a scissor arm. And the top picture is Apollo 12. The bottom picture is Surveyor 3. It took of itself. You can see on this one, there's a kind of a wire on the bottom of the scooper arm, but on the Surveyor 3 actual craft, there's a metal bar here on the bottom. So it's obviously two different crafts we're looking at here.
Dude, that metal bar it's one of the bars there. It's the same thing. You can see on the top part there, some of those are doubled up. Like the one that's right on the left side of the screen there. Yep, there's doubled, and some are singled. And you can see the one that you're paralleling there on the bottom, that's a single, and then the other one see where it's connecting? It's connecting to a doubled one. And that's, dude.
It's the same thing, but this bottom wire here on the actual Surveyor has an actual metal bar here, not just a wire like on the Apollo 12.
That metal bar, you're drawing the lines between the wrong things there. That metal bar on the bottom is one of the bars we can see on the top. We can't see that wire on the bottom image. I don't know where the wire is, but we don't see it at all. But that metal bar that you're highlighting there is on the top part of the image. You just identified it wrong.
Okay. Well, anyway, you can download these images yourself and research it more if you're interested.
The ID for those.
Yeah, if you're interested in ID, I can send it to you. So let me just finish my last.
Let me just. I want to reference just to contrast. I stated at the beginning of my presentation of evidence that every single thing I was presenting was on my website already. So everybody that was curious and whether or not they could go get that evidence, they could be looking at it right now in the comfort of their own home because it's on my website at mctoon.net. You didn't do what you told your people to do, bring citations.
Right. So I'm trying to do my last little closing statement here, if you guys don't mind.
Well, if you excuse me, if you wanted to do like a like a semi wrap up. I usually do closings at the end of Q&A just because new things get brought up and we go into new territory. So unless you
It's a
had
good
anything that
idea.
you wanted to bring up in direct response to what Mike has said, I think it would be a good time to move into Q&A. But I don't mind if you want to take 5 minutes. If you have something that Mike might
Yeah.
have said that you want to delve into, we can take five and then move into Q&A. And I'll remind our audience to get your questions in now because we're fast approaching. So, Rasa, if you have something else, we can spend five.
Yeah. So this is my last little wrap up. Um, Now, the interesting things which he did not bring up is what I'm most used to hearing is it two things. One, it could not have been a hoax because there was 400,000 NASA employees and you could not keep a secret amongst these 400,000 NASA employees. And number two is that it could not have been a hoax because the Russians were in the middle of a space race and the Russians would have blown the whistle. So I'm going to address these last 2 points, even though he didn't bring it up, just because it's very important. So we have here my last little screen
Hold on a
share.
second, Ryan. I'm gonna take umbrage with this.
Mm.
Okay.
He
What's
he he
happening?
is he is attempting in a debate to refute points that I did not bring up. If he wants to do that, maybe he wants to do a guest speaker show on your site here on your page, or maybe he wants to do his own videos. But him refuting points I did not make is not how a debate works.
Do you feel that's unfair,
Well,
Rasa?
um, okay, yeah, I'm not refuting any points he makes. This is just my little wrap up, my last little section in answer to the questions which everybody else asks me.
All right, just so we don't throw too much out at once, I'm just going to give you 1 minute on the floor if you don't mind, Rasa.
Okay, no problem.
All right, thank you.
So this is a Freemasonic webpage where they list the 14 Freemasons who were involved in the Apollo missions. So some of them were scientists, some of them were administration, some of them were astronauts. So these were the 14 publicly admitted Freemasons. It means they were not secret about it. They were publicly admitting they were Freemasons. There was probably many, many more who were secret Freemasons, but these are the 14 publicly admitted Freemasons in NASA. And here's Alexei Leonov was. Now, the Soviets were also faking part of their space mission. This is obviously a fake video. This is 1965, Alexei Leonov, the first spacewalk. And you can tell from the studio lighting glaring off his helmet that this
15
was the
seconds.
Soviets were. And now, if you're interested in the Soviets, please read these books. The Best Enemy Money Can Buy by Anthony C. Sutton, Russia and the Big Red Lie. Basically, the Soviets were completely dependent on America for everything. Here we got LBJ, Freemason, and it goes on and on. You know, this Freemasons in NASA, Freemasons in the Soviet Union.
I'm
The
sorry,
Soviets would not
Dr.
have
Russell.
blown the
We'll have to
whistle.
wrap it here and get into our
Done.
Q&A just because I think we have kept Mike a little bit over time here at this point, and we did get into a few additional things. So, Mike, if you had nothing to respond with, we can move into Q&A, but it's at your discretion
Uh,
if you'd like to respond to some of
yeah,
that. It's your time.
I'll say Charlie Duke is not a Freemason. He was on Apollo 16. So, but whining about Freemasons is just a poisoning the well fallacy. It doesn't matter. It has nothing to do with it at all. If they went or not, it lies on evidence, not on appeals to poisoning the well like that. So, yeah, thank you. I appreciate that you completely refused to address any of the two things I brought up, and all you had was unsubstantiated claims. So,
Okay. I think we should move into our Q&A, everybody. So if you haven't gotten your questions in yet, definitely get them in. We got all kinds, and so we're going to start rolling them. Hit that like button if you haven't already. I see more people generally can participate in the old polls. Remember to slap up, not slap down when you hit that like button. It doesn't like it like that. All right? So Hates Stairs says, Dr. Rasa, where did you obtain your doctorate, and where can I find your thesis and publications? It's a little bit personal and not related to the debate, so
Yeah.
you can pass or we can
I,
address it
I,
later.
I attended 4 different universities. I got my bachelor's degree from Portland State University. And then I changed subjects from astrophysics to medicine. And then I went to a naturopathic college. And now I'm currently enrolled in my 5th university where I'm going to complete my second PhD, this time completing it in quantum mechanics.
All right. Well, let us carry on there. And thank you so much for answering that question. Let's see. LJ coming in says, how do you personally know if anybody's ever landed? That one's for you, Mike.
How do I personally know? Well, I covered 2 of them in my presentation there, both the the amount of time that it took for the feather to fall, and the shows that they were in a vacuum chamber, and the amount of time is shows that they're at lower gravity, and the photographs from a third party showing footprints. Those are 2 great ways to know.
All right. Any thoughts on the other side, or you want to carry on?
No, I have already addressed those 2.
Alrighty. I'm going to get the next poll started up here shortly, directly related to our debate topics. So stay tuned, everybody, to let us know what side you lean on this topic. Let's say, oh, Mike has just stepped out, so let's find one. Oh,
No. I had to let the dogs out.
that's okay. Well, we now know who let the dogs out. It was Mike. Officially, we can close this mystery down, all right? LJ asks again, why was NASA caught faking the window as the globe?
Can I address that?
Sure thing.
So this is a point which Bart Sabrell brought up. Is in 2001 he's showing them supposedly faking the window, but Bart didn't do a very good job presenting that. So that's why I actually showed these 2 images. So if you compare the cloud pattern from the video to the cloud pattern from the photographs, then you can see that this is a different cloud pattern. This is the proof of a hoax.
Any thoughts over there to close this out, Mike, or you want to carry on?
No, go ahead.
All right. Just bear with me there. Jen says I am trying to get our poll up and running while I move through our super chats. And thank you, everybody who has put in a super chat. And if you have any questions for our speakers, get them in, because they're here. They're now live. And other homekeeping things I will let you know is all our debates are going to be uploaded to podcast form within 24 hours. If you are listening on podcast right now, make sure that you do subscribe to the Modern Day Debate YouTube channel so that you can catch these live and ask these questions to the speakers while they're here in person. All right. Monkey Cat Pat Pat says, MCToon, if the moon landing was faked, why fake it, and who would be behind it?
Well, obviously somebody thinks it's the Masons that don't charge for anything, any of their masonry work. But if it were fake, see, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, because the whole world was watching, and if you tried to fake something like that, and in a war, in a Cold War with big bad Russia, they're gonna scream bloody murder if you're faking it. So.
Can I address that too?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
So the decision to fake it was made in 1962 while JFK was still alive. And in order to fake it, they had to accomplish landing an unmanned craft on the moon first. So it wasn't until Surveyor 7 that they actually had a live TV camera 1964 was the first crash landing where they had the TV camera running all the way. So in 1964, it was all downhill from there. There's like, okay, we can land an unmanned craft for the moon. We can bring back rocks. We can place down retroreflectors. So this is the thing is the decision. Russia found out that NASA was planning on faking it in 1965, and then also an important thing was that LBJ had to pass the torch to Nixon, and Nixon was also a Freemason. So he passed the torch to him. Okay, these are guys that are going to be faking a moon landing. Russia knew about it. And anyway, in 1975, we're going to meet and make a space station.
Any final
All right.
thoughts, Mike?
Will you send the citation proving that in 1972 they decided to fake it, and proving
62.
all right, and proving that in 1965 Russia found out? Can you post the proof of that?
Yeah, I've
Or
done some
maybe
shows on that.
you'll have to email me the proof of that, right?
I've done plenty of shows on that.
Yeah, no,
It's
my turn.
it's
My
one
turn.
of the things.
You know how it goes.
You,
I get asked the question, then you have a quick response, then I have a follow-up. That's the format here.
That is true. Unfortunately, unless you want to pass the ball back, I mean, it's always up to
Nah.
you. But okay.
Nah.
All right. So yeah, just to remind, yeah, if we have a question for Mike, Mike will get first word. You can respond, and then Mike gets last word, vice versa. So we got questions, all kinds of questions for you as well, Dr. Rasa. So Kango44 coming in with just that question for Dr. Rasaviharii. Is your position that we have landed on the moon, just not a manned landing?
correct.
He's
Correct.
nodding his head correct. So you do believe that there are other instances of landings on the moon. So the people who said they didn't believe in the moon earlier in our live chat, Ross is coming right at you. He believes the moon is real. Can you believe that? All right, Ross, you want to go ahead and address that? It's up to you.
Yeah. So the way that they pulled off this hoax was first they sent unmanned crafts and they took pictures of the landing site so they could get their mountain backdrops right. And then they would scoop up rocks and bring it back to Earth. They would place down retroreflectors. So it was all accomplished with unmanned crafts. The only difference is they claimed the rocks were brought back by human hands and the retroreflectors were placed down by human hands.
Any response on the other side, Mike, or you want to carry on?
No.
All right, let's carry into a Forte's question. Thank you so much, Kango44. Forte coming in with something here is being faked, but it's not the moon landing. Ooh, it's very ominous. What undertones could possibly be going on there, Forte? I don't know if we can really pull too much out of this. Something here is being faked, but it's not the moon landing. If you guys want to address Forte, you can go ahead. We can carry on.
I know what's being faked.
All right, Mike, don't hold your tongue. Let's hear what's going on.
Fake physicist. That's what we have. We have a fake physicist. He can't do kinematics. He says that he did that he studied astrophysics at Portland State University, but I don't think he did.
Any response over there, Dr. Rasa, or you want to just carry on? Because it seems like it's a little
Carry
bit,
on.
yeah, as I say, coming right at the. I figured you might have moved into something related to the debate, not just the personal, but that's fine too. You know, we get a little bit juicy here sometimes in modern day debate, and I don't think our audience or our speakers generally mind. Hango Flamio says, Rasaviharii, how many G does the moon have?
1/6 G of Earth's 1/6 Earth's gravity.
Any thoughts on the
You
other
can
side,
hear
there,
me?
Mike? Yeah, we can hear you. Sorry.
Yeah, 1.6 meters per second squared. 1.625 if you want 4 digits.
Seems like this might be our kumbaya moment, if you will, right? All right, Kango44. yeah, cringe all you'd like over there. All right, Kango 44. Fact: cameras in 1960s could not hold enough film to run at the high frame rates required to capture 143 minutes in slow motion. You need to record and store 47 minutes of live action, which simply wasn't possible.
Can I reply?
Sure thing.
Yeah, it's called film splicing. You can splice together two films. You can. That's how they did. That's if you look at the Apollo camera rolls. You know, film roll number so and so. Especially when they switched between real footage and fake footage. They sent unmanned crafts to the moon. They were photographing the moon as they were going there. They were photographing the Earth as they were leaving. But then all of a sudden it switches to fake photos of them in lunar orbit. And then you have real photos again coming back to Earth. If that made sense.
Any thoughts, Mike, or you want to carry on?
Prove it.
Did you want to respond, Dr. Rasa, or carry on?
Well, like I said, as I said, I'm making a lot of unsubstantiated claims. The Freemasons,
Indeed, you are.
and this is how they pulled off the hoax. These are unsubstantiated claims. But if you look at my evidence, which I just presented, then that is the proof.
All right. Well, let us carry on. Witsit Gets It. Hey, how's it been, buddy? I haven't heard from you in a little hot second. From what I hear, Witsit Gets It is going to be making an appearance back, but you can correct me, Witsit, if I'm wrong. You got our live chat all in a stir, it looks like, and lots of questions coming in from you as well. So let's see. Declassified CIA documents. So this is from Witsit Gets It. Says declassified CIA documents details traveling matte method tech using infrared that completely removed all outlines. So the technology to fake the footage did in fact exist at the time, right? MCToon.
I would simply ask for the link to those things. He says a lot of things that have no substantiation, of course.
Any thoughts over there, Dr. Rasa?
Yeah, it's not. I don't subscribe, obviously, to the theory that it would have been impossible because it wasn't technically possible to fake it. It was certainly technically possible to fake it. You have, Kubrick movies which look just like, or even better than the Apollo landings. So.
All right. Well, let us carry on. Honestly, when you brought up your computer over earlier there, Mike, it reminded me to anybody who is a Star Wars fan. If you look up 4K 77, somebody has completely 4K restored that footage, which is very very, very cool for a nerd like me. All right, Kango 44. And Dr. Rasa, your 20 years of moon landing research is just getting things wrong when looking at videos. Anything to say to Kango?
I don't understand the question. When looking at videos.
They're saying your 20 years of moon landing research is just getting things wrong when looking at videos. Any thoughts?
Sorry, I
think
don't
he's trying to
understand
call
the
you out.
question.
He's not being overtly polite. Let's just put it that way. He's trying to say that he thinks that you are not understanding the videos that you're looking at as far as what I'm reading out of this message. So did you have anything to say, Kango, or you want to just carry on?
No, like I said, these are, yeah, I could be interpreting it wrong. Yeah, I admit, if you can prove me wrong, I'd be happy to admit that I'm wrong here.
Any thoughts over there, Mike? Or we can carry on.
I agree with Kango.
Okay. Michael Dreston, MCToon, and getting flat smacked yet again. So sad. So sad, Mike. Okay.
Flat smacked. I was unaware that Rasa was one of them.
No, I'm not.
He's just accused you of that, Rasa.
That was something that I think we specifically, we figured out at the beginning of the debate, and we have avoided the tag. So let's keep ourselves behaved. Thanks, guys. Michael
This
says,
will get the other tag though.
"Oh, well, let's be
The
careful then."
the the very topic of gets a tag too.
Oh yeah, no, you are right.
Yeah, you'll
That's
get
true.
that.
We don't need a double. We don't need to double this up. Okay, we already got one Canadian here. All right, Michael Dresden. The doctor is doing bad things to MCToon into submission. I'll just say that because that is. Thanks for that, Michael. We appreciate you, even though we can't really get too much substance out of your question. Once again, everybody hit the like. We're having a ball. Kango44 says, question. Are you familiar with NVIDIA's project to simulate light transport to reproduce the moon footage? Using a BRDF model of the moon's surface, you could show that the illumination of the astronauts could not be from studio lights.
I have seen that. It's a pretty good demonstration of that and how the light would have to reflect and off what surfaces it would have to reflect. It's a very nice video.
All right. Any thoughts on the other side?
Yeah, I mean, anybody can say whatever they want, but for me, when I look at the evidence, I see shadows wrong lengths and diverging shadows because of a close light source. Talking about how it could not have been faked is just empty words, you know.
No worries. All right, we can carry on from there. Let's see. Somebody asked me to turn my mic up. I can turn my mic up a little bit if that helps. Rasa looks like there might be too much me in his ear right now.
It sounds good to me.
Okay, good. All right, let's carry on then. Dr. Mantis Toboggan says, Rasaviharii lied about being a physicist. Why should we trust anything he says now that we know he is happy to lie? I don't know if we really have much to engage with that there, Dr. Mantis.
So let me say, I do work for the Chinese Space Agency, but I am not allowed. I can't just prove that to you because there's no Chinese web pages which have my name on it. And regarding of whether I'm a physicist or not, it doesn't matter to me whether you believe me or not. This is not about me. This is about evidence of the moon landings.
All right. I think we can carry on from there. Dr. Mantis also said, also, Ryan's music is awesome. Won't miss a chance to shout out myself there. Honestly, I've got this radio show coming up, so I think I might post some of us doing the immigrant song. It never passes YouTube copyright, Kashmir, any of that stuff. Led Zeppelin, the minute you post it online, it's just like, no. Nah, no monetization ever. Anyways, but I enjoy singing it. So thanks, Dr. Mantis, for the shout out. Joshua Jamie says almost all modern award-winning photos of microscopic life have been extensively photoshopped. Does that mean they were staged in a Hollywood basement?
No, definitely not.
No, we got a solid no over there. Any thoughts, Mike?
It's a solid no for me as well.
All right. Hey, we can't argue with that, everybody. When we get a moment of agreement with our speakers, we got to just appreciate that. Cheers. Yeah, I have to have.
I do want to say that I do want to say that that has nothing to do with the Apollo missions, though, because photoshopping an image in order to bring out certain details is one thing. But photoshopping images to hide proof of fakery is something else.
All right. Well, let's carry on. Membership chat from Sunflower. Good to see you hanging out there, Sunflower. Chrome is reflective. Overexposed will look white. Any thoughts on our panel?
I agree. Yeah.
Well, it didn't look white in the Surveyor 3 images, which I was showing you images of. It looked chrome color.
What's chrome color in a black and white photo?
Well, you can see, as I showed you the legs, one leg was white, one leg was chrome. You can tell the difference between those two colors there.
All right. It seems like that's a good spot to just carry on. And Yeah, thank you so much, Sunflower, for your membership chat. That might be my nervous tick tonight, is saying carry on. Sorry about that. I've been working on the Kansas song, you see? It's all that old
It's the
70s rock. I told
Wayward
you
Son.
I'm
Yep.
not punk enough for you, Mike. I'm sorry. Too 70s. All right.
Hey,
Bitter.
Zeppelin's fine.
That's great.
Maybe some Black Flag.
Oh, the only thing that I'll do with Black in his name is Sabbath, which we did War Pigs the other night, first time. Oh, it sounded great. All right. Bitter
That's a
truth.
good song.
What is neutrino mass problem, Dr. Rasaviharii?
Again, this is not about me. This is about evidence of the moon landing. So, if people have to resort to attacking the messenger, it means they can't reply to the message.
If I could. He has made his credentials a point in here, right? He has, under his name, Doctor, right? He has specifically stated that he claimed that he has, if I understand it correctly, a double degree in both astrophysics
Medicine.
and quantum mechanics from Portland State University in 1999. He's claimed that. So if since he's made that part of his deal here, then it seems to be on task. I only claim that I successfully completed middle school math and science. That's all that's necessary to address this topic.
Okay, can I reply? So the just a second. The sorry. So I completed a degree in I was a double major. One was medicine, one was astrophysics, okay? So and then I in 1999 I got a bachelor's degree, and of course, as if you can see my name here, Dr. Rasaviharii or whatever, this is obviously a fake name, right? My English name is not Rasaviharii. And the reason why I'm using a fake name is because I've received threats in the past. I've had the
That's beside the point.
Freemasons.
But I'll give you that. I don't care that it's your name isn't Rasa, whatever.
Right. And
It's
so
the
the same
credentials.
reason,
It's the credentials you're
right.
claiming.
Right. So the same thing. I could show you my degree. I could show you my bachelor's degree. I could show you my PhD, but that
But you
has my
don't have a
legal name.
PhD. You've said
I do.
previously you do not have a PhD. You have
When
a
did I say that?
naturopathic doctorate, doctor
ND.
program, an
Right.
ND pro, not a PhD, an ND
It's still
from
the
an
same.
uncredited university that doesn't exist anymore. That's
Right.
not a PhD. So you're
And now
claiming a PhD. That's brand new. ND, not equal PhD. They're not the same.
right.
Okay.
Okay, anyway, so
Thoughts,
I
Rosa?
went to 4 different universities, and then now I'm currently enrolled in my fifth university, so I can finish my PhD in quantum mechanics. But even then, I'm still going to hide my degrees because I'm hiding my legal name here because I've received threats from Freemasons saying we're going to come to China to find you. So this is why I
From
don't show my degree.
Freemasons, definitely
Right.
Freemasons, because everybody that
Yeah,
disagrees with you is a Freemason, right?
most of them.
All right.
Of course.
Let us carry on. We've got a couple more questions. I shouldn't say a couple. We've got a handful. M2M says, Arasa, how can you still be working for the Chinese government? If you are exposing what the Chinese government said not to do, shouldn't you have been sacked by now?
It's a good question. So yeah, in China, the YouTube and Facebook are banned. So even though the Chinese Space Agency asked me, don't blow the whistle on the Apollo missions, China does not monitor YouTube and Facebook. So when I come on here with a fake name, they're not going to really find what I'm doing here. And even if I did, if they do find out I'm doing what I'm doing, then I would just be deported from the country, go back to America, you know.
Any thoughts on the other
If that made
side? Or
sense.
I guess there's not really too much to build on there. Let's carry on. Thank you so much for your super chat. And yeah, a couple more flying in, a couple more from Witsit. Let's see. Icy Spin says, evidence without sources isn't evidence. poor effort. I'm not sure who you're calling
I
out directly,
agree.
IC Spin, but you can respond to that how you like, panel.
Well, I just saying, if you're interested in seeing references, some of them I did give you, but other ones I just don't have time. If you're interested, I can send them to you personally.
All right. You heard it here. Yeah, I was going to say, and I think that's already been established. You're going to be probably following up with a few things here with Mike. Maybe we'll even follow up with a few things with you guys on here, since we've been rolling through pretty quick. Witsit Gets It says the majority of rocks claimed to be moon rocks were found on Earth. How can you differentiate between those from Earth and those from the moon? Also, how do you even prove they are from the moon? That's for you there, Mike, I think.
Well, he starts out with a lie. Pretty standard for Witsit. Claiming the majority, that's over 50%. Yet I've not seen one, and I know the uneducated, indoctrinated parrots will talk about the Dutch ambassador who never received a moon rock. It was mislabeled. It's obvious to anybody that did a little bit of research that that was a lie, or it was a misinformation, and they never did that. Here's what happened. The of the channels that Apollo used to hand out actual moon rocks to different countries, like China did, was not by giving them to astronauts to give on their tours. It went through official States Department type channels. So the Dutch guy that had the petrified rock could never have received a moon sample. He would never have been on that list. The rest of them, now you have more than 50% Witsit. You're going to have to support with evidence, which I know you'll never do, Austin.
Can I reply also?
Absolutely.
So, as I mentioned at the beginning, most of the moon landing researchers have done a pretty poor job in the past, and one of them, as he mentioned, is this Dutch moon rock turned out to be petrified wood. But so here's the thing. But most people would say, well, also Werner von Braun went down to Antarctica to pick up moon rocks. So now the thing is this. Okay, maybe some of the moon rocks did come from Antarctica, but not all of them. A majority did come from the moon, especially when you get lunar regolith samples. They drilled down and they could bring back core samples, and one of them was just opened a few years ago. So I have no questions about, maybe some of the moon rocks are fake, but you can't fake things like core samples. You have to send unmanned crafts to bring those back.
Okay.
I'll say the supporting evidence is on my website. Just search for petrified wood. And how would you know? Well, you would know by studying it, and the people that have the capability and the understanding of it would be geologists. And there are many papers that they have written analyzing the samples. People that are interested can get academic samples to be analyzed. So I would encourage anybody that's interested in it to work through whatever channels are necessary to get a sample so that they can do a real analysis of it. I don't know if anybody's ever done that.
I was going to say, I hear there are petrified trees in my neck of the woods here in Nova Scotia, so I'll have to go down there and with my chisel and see if I can get some to send you there, Mike. And I was just say that's actually something you guys can look up. Apparently, I was made aware of that just a few days ago. I had no idea that's a whole big thing in my neck of the woods. Anyways, bitter truth. Dr. Rasaviharii, please explain quantum chromodynamics, QCD, confinement. Also explain quantum gravity. So quantum chromodynamic confinement, QCD. I don't know why you put the brackets between there, but it's okay.
anyway, like I said, it's not about me if people are questioning my credentials. I'm okay with that. You take everything what I say with a grain of salt. Don't believe anything I say. Just look at the evidence for yourself. Look at some of the images, Apollo images, which I presented. And I have many more if you're interested. I've got tons of these proofs of a hoax. It's not about me or what is my degree. I don't care whether you believe me or not.
Okay. All right. Seems like that's a good place to carry on. I said it again. That's right. Yeah, we've got a few more. So let's try to whip through these. Danny Diesel said, I'm kind of upset the diapers weren't brought up. Sorry, Danny. We brought up catheters. Is that enough? Are you not
When you
entertained?
say we, it was you, Ryan. You were the one that brought that up.
Hey,
Rasa and I did not.
hey, when I say we,
Actually,
go ahead.
I brought up the diapers thing on our last show. Maybe
Yeah.
that's why he's joking about it.
I'm
because
sure that's why.
Oh no, that's fun. No, I was gonna say when I say we, I'm dragging all the moderators of modern day debate into this, right? Yeah. Remember, I recently became a doctor's assistant. I don't know if I had told you guys.
Assistant to the doctor.
Assistant to the doctor. That's right. Yes, that sounds way better. That's right. I gotta remember that. That makes my wife happy. It sounds like Doctor Who. Yes. But yes, James did get his PhD, and we're all very proud of him.
Has he walked yet?
Has he done the walk? Has he walked
Yeah.
the walk? I
Because is when does it become official? When the dissertation is like given the thumbs up by the panel, or is it official once papers have been handed to it? I don't know.
you know what? I'm gonna have to follow up myself. The majority of rocks. This is coming in from Witsit. The majority of rocks claim to be moon. Oh, that's yeah. Sorry, I scrolled up a little bit. This is also from Witsit. Werner von Braun led a team to Antarctica to retrieve moon rocks in quotes before the Apollo missions. How would you know if they used those rocks when they just lied and claimed that they were from the moon landing?
Well, a geologist, somebody that specializes in that and has the background understanding of it, would be the person to look at it. Not me, not Witsit, not Rasa, not Ryan. Somebody that has the actual understanding of the topic would be the person that you'd want to start with. And they have done it, and there are super large number of papers on the topic. I actually was looking at several of them in the last several days. There's way too many papers on analysis of them. So yeah, go ahead, Whitson, get a geologist and get a sample and do the analysis.
Any thoughts over there?
I even know people. Yeah, I know people I mean, obviously China has brought back moon rocks, and I've even seen the Apollo rocks given to China. So it's not a question of whether the moon rocks are real or not. It's a question of whether they were brought back by manned crafts or unmanned crafts.
Okay. Next one, Danny Diesel says, for you, master of ceremonies, Toon. All right. Yes, I got that email from you. I paid attention. I know what you want to be. No, it's fine. Fact, the plastic Darlin used to make golf balls starts melting at 190 degrees Fahrenheit on Earth. Why didn't they melt on the moon? Apollo 14.
Well, how long does it take to melt? Also, I don't know. Maybe he's unaware that there isn't a whole lot of air to transfer that heat. So you can take an oven, set it to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and stick your hand in it. And you could leave your hand without touching any surfaces. You could leave your hand in it for a good while before it started to bother you. Similar to but it would eventually, because the air would warm up your hand, as would the radiant heat from the element in there. Both of them would. But when you take the air out, then you only have radiant heat to do it, and it takes longer to warm it up.
Any thoughts over there, Rasa?
Can I Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, as I mentioned, many of the moon researchers in the past haven't done a very good job of researching this stuff. So, a lot of people bring up this thing about 200 degrees Celsius on the surface of the moon. But you have to understand the official story. The official story is that the Apollo missions landed right at the sunrise, which is basically, the coldest time to be on Earth, and it takes a long time. It takes 13 days for the moon to heat up. They weren't there for that long, so they chose the coldest time to land, supposedly land on the moon. So the argument about 250 degrees, the golf balls melting is kind of just doesn't understand the official story. You have to understand the official story before you try to debunk it. Okay.
All right, let's carry on. I was going to say, I've been no stranger to picking up bacon on the pan and flipping with my bare fingers. It's the guitar advantage there, Mike. As you were saying about the hands in the oven, that's all I was thinking about is as I get our super chest back open, is my wife when she comes out and she's like, oh, when you pick it up with your bare fingers as it's sizzling. But those are calluses. They're lovely. Danny Diesel says, MC, I dare you to debate Marcus Allen. Who's Marcus Allen? Mike.
Marcus Allen. I don't know.
Marcus Allen is Marcus Allen.
Oh,
Right?
I had a screenshot from a video that he did, but I would be sure. I assume it's on this topic
Do you
because
truffle?
if it's going to be a debate on whether or not that blue dress was blue or green, I'm probably not going to be the one for that debate.
I was gonna say, yeah. If we can get
My
that
sis, my
contact, that's
sister,
what you want.
my sister sent me that picture last week. Like, what? That was how many years ago?
No
Remember
worries.
that one? All
Oh,
right.
yes. I
And
seen that resurfaced
What color
recently.
is this dress? Yeah.
Very strange. How richly bizarre. Let's carry
and
on.
if Marcus Allen is able to come on, I should probably talk to him a little bit to correct him on this image he posted earlier.
All right, well, we got both of our speakers calling out Marcus Allen. So if anybody has that contact and wants to reach out, Mike and Rasa seem to be open to having a discussion with this individual. Let's carry on.
He's a good friend of mine. He's a good friend of mine.
Oh well, then yeah, maybe we can get through Rasa and link you up, Mike, and get that debate happening, just for the pleasure of Danny Diesel. All right, since he triple dog dared you. No, he just regular dared you, but we're gonna pretend he triple dog dared you, so we can really get you doing it. Matters now says, Doctor, can you help me understand how rocket propulsion works in space for thrust? How do we shield against alpha and beta particles?
Oh, now this is two different questions. Do rockets work in space? Of course they do. If you're floating in space and you fire a gun, your body's going to go the other way. This is just simple physics here. Now, regarding shielding from radiation, now that's a different question. That's actually my job at the Chinese Space Agency. Is I'm actually studying radiation shielding materials. And so, no, definitely the Apollo missions had no protection from the radiation. Hence, they wouldn't dare to send people beyond low Earth orbit.
Any
So for
thoughts?
me, yeah, what kind of radiation specifically are you talking about?
Is that question for me?
Yeah.
So, yeah, so there's three kinds of radiation. You have the normal radiation, the gamma rays, the beta wave, and then you have the solar
Hold,
particle events,
hold on.
and finally the
Normal,
galactic cosmic. Yeah, the normal
normal.
solar radiation,
Okay.
right?
Which is
Normal solar radiation,
what type of particles?
the electromagnetic spectra, all the different wavelengths in there.
But what
So
kind of
you're
particles?
whether it's a particle duality, a particle or wave
But what are
duality.
but what are the names of those particles?
So then the second one is the solar particle events, and then the galactic cosmic rays.
And what kind of
So this is
particles are
what we're
those?
this is what we're trying to protect against. There's all kinds of particles in
But
the
But specifically, what kind of particles are common in galactic radiation?
They could be neutrons, they could be electrons, they could be protons, they could be the entire atoms, just flying through space when a
Okay.
supernova explodes.
And how much is there?
There's a lot. We've got the Artemis 1 readings. The
There's a
Artemis
lot.
1,
Ooh, a
yeah.
lot.
It's enough
How
to
did you
it's enough
quantify that? How do you quantify a lot?
it's enough to fry you if you ever try to leave a low Earth orbit. You're
But
going to
can you
need some
substantiate
special
that?
radiation.
Can you substantiate that, or is that just trust me, bro?
Well, it's hard to come up with exact numbers. How much radiation would have what effect on what person, what part of their body? So there's no way to even in
I was
China,
asking, I wasn't asking about the effect on people. I was asking
mm,
how much radiation is there.
right,
Certainly you must be referencing some sort of study about the quantity of radiation and the types of radiation, right?
right.
Can
So
you
even
cite
in
that?
China, right, even in China, our Chang'e has the radiation sensors on board. But the thing is, to quantify that depends on the type of radiation sensor you're using. So it's all relative to the type of sensor and how large is the receptor paddle. And, it's impossible to quantify these things. It's just a
So, so,
random events.
so that's what the papers say when the people write papers on that. They're like, there was a lot, but it's impossible to quantify. That's what the
No,
papers say.
there's numbers, but those numbers are all based on that particular measurement instrument.
Wow. Amazing. Amazing detail.
All right. I think that was a good exchange there, fellas, and we'll end that on a high note. And I will say, Matters Now also ends that with that there's going to be an after show over on Matters Now. So if you're hanging out in the YouTube spaces and want to check out the after show, check out Matters Now. I think Mike is also hanging out. In his own space, so if you got thoughts with Mike, I think he's got thoughts for you. And yeah, let's carry on. Earthly skeptic Rasa at the university where you're doing a PhD in quantum. What's the penalty for doctoring images and fabricating data? What's the university called? You don't have to answer this because it's personal and not related to the debate, but you can respond to Earthly Skeptic if you would like.
Yeah, I'm not going to mention the name of my university right now. And regarding if my mentors at the university find me doing this, I don't think they would be too upset because I know some other people in the program that I'm studying with who are also skeptical of the moon landings.
All right. Any thoughts, Mike, or do you want to just carry on?
Yeah.
I think, yeah, I was going to say, there's not too much to dig in when there's a personal question, unless, somebody wants to answer that, which they never have to. So I'm going to warn you guys preemptively, if you ask a personal question not related to the subject of the debate, there's no guarantee that somebody's going to answer you, because I'm not going to make them answer you a personal question. That's just, it can get pretty blah sometimes with the questions. So thanks again, though. That was fine. Kango 44. Dr. Rasa, so your research is looking at photos. You know that inverse rendering is a thing. There are people doing advanced light transport simulations to use as photo forensic tools. Maybe educate yourself on the subject. Can go getting a little spicy at the end there. But did you want to repeat the bones of that question?
No, I get it. I mean, yeah, there's people who are doing all kinds of analyses and this and that. But, the thing is, for me, I always ask what is because I first learned about this hoax in 2001. And what happened was I went to the NASA webpage and I downloaded all the images I could. And then after that, NASA redid their webpage. They've got the new Surface Journal. Everything is nicely photoshopped there now. All the shadow lighting has been removed. So anyway, it's all depends on the fox which guards the hen house. Of course the NASA documents are gonna say that it was real, so you have to go to find the original documents, the ones which are unedited.
All right. No worries. Any thoughts over there, Mike, or do you want to carry on?
No,
All right. Thank you so much there, Ross, for answering that question. Witsit gets it. We are getting near the end of the super chats, and we're going to try to whip through them because, Mike, you said you did need to go shortly. Did you have a time frame, Mike, or is it
no,
okay to?
I'm fine.
Okay.
Fine.
I just
Yeah,
want to make
I,
sure.
I know how many you got left about, so yeah, it's good.
Okay, I just want to make sure that I'm not keeping you over time. When of course we are going a little over time. So thank you so much, Mike and Rasa, for staying here. Witsit gets it says combination photography by the traveling matte method, infrared screen, and camera WS guarantees complete absence of outlines. 1947 CIA doc. So the technology did exist, correct? All right, here, I'll give you my best transatlantic because he did a quotes there and I may have messed it up. Combination photography by the traveling matte method, infrared screen, and the camera WS, which guarantees complete absence of the outlines. 1964 CIA doc. All right, your thoughts?
I don't know. He's just making a claim. Cool.
I did
Good
so
claim.
much. I did so
I
much.
mean, it's standard from Witsit. He makes a claim, right? But is there some forensic analysis that somebody's done on it? Are there examples of it, or is it just tossing something out there? Just tossing something out there.
No worries.
Well, while we're tossing out things, there is one video about how between Apollo 16 and Apollo 17, NASA started investing in kind of like a pre-Photoshop, a video editing, the company. But this is not any kind of a proof of a hoax or anything. It's just throwing random things out.
Any closing thoughts, Mike?
If you're interested in the link, I'll send you that later.
Okay. Danny Diesel says Ryan needs credit for holding a straight face. Well, thank you, Danny Diesel. I feel like I've really failed up in the straight face department as far as the live chat goes. So I hope neither of our speakers thinks that I was reacting to anything they were saying, because at one point when I put up the, did you spank the like button, some of the comments just, I could not keep my straight face. I'm so sorry. They were just so hilarious. All right, so Kanko 44. And a reminder, spank the like button. Not down, up, that's just, it's, nobody likes it that way. Kango 44 says, just wanted to say, no flat earther will take the free trip to Antarctica on an offer. I wonder why.
We're still early. Some might. I don't know if you know about that one, Rasa, but
No, they're offering a free trip to Antarctica.
yeah, one flat earther is getting paid for to go there to see if the sun does what the globe says, or if the sun does what flat Earth says. So far, the first one refused it, so we'll see how it goes.
They can also go. There's a webpage called Ski Antarctica where anybody could just go down there for skiing.
There's a lot of people go down there often.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Let us carry on with Dr. Ooh, not Doctor, sorry. Before we get there, Kango 44. Yeah, that was the last one. Thank you, Kango 44. Icy Spin. I'm Icy Spin on Discord. Ross for sources. Thanks. Well, thanks for just making me plug you. It's not the most unfriendly thing we've seen on here in a while, so
I'll post on my Discord server any of the links or things that Rasa sends me.
Excellent. Icy Spin. That sounds like when my vertigo gets really bad, Anyways, Woodsett gets it. Asks again. NASA claims to have 842 pounds of lunar rock samples from the Apollo missions. It is claimed we have found 370 moon rocks totaling over 2,400 pounds on Earth. You just called me a liar, but you lied, right? It was in capitals. I had to be.
Yeah. So, not certain what he's talking about on the moon rocks from the Earth, right? Well, I think I have an idea.
Asteroid,
Um,
lunar sample
yeah,
asteroid.
yeah, that they came through the atmosphere, and of course, coming through the atmosphere will modify them. So how do you know? Well, yeah. So when saying over half of the moon rocks are admittedly from the Earth, that's not being an honest way to describe them, with it, because it sounded like you were framing them as if somebody had discovered that the ones that were brought back from the Apollo missions were somehow from the Earth, from terrestrial sources. So if that was what you meant, was to describe it in a way that was deceptive, and then that's deceptive. And if it was accidental, then I'll take it and apologize that I took it as if you were saying that it was deceptive. So how would you tell? Yes, you can tell. Geologists can identify that, and things get modified as they go through the atmosphere because they get hot. But Rasa, you got anything? Because
No, I agree
Brian's
with
not
you
here.
there. I agree with you there. However, it is again, most of the moon rocks are locked up behind closed doors.
Do you know of any of those that reject like moon hoaxers that have seen the samples in an academic or a geologic sense, or tried to, or has it just been
Well,
nobody tried?
I have seen the Apollo rocks given to China. So,
But just like,
I'm not a
but you
geologist.
saw them in some sort of a display case, right? You didn't
Right,
get
right,
to study them, and you don't have
right.
the background, like I don't have the
No.
background to analyze them. So do you know
No.
if any moon hoaxers have you know employed the services of the appropriate people to go and say to NASA, "Hey, can we get a sample and look at it?" Because I know you don't reject that that people went, or sorry, that not that people went, that machines went, right? But certainly, as far as I know, the majority of the moon hoaxers don't think that we went and brought stuff back, right?
There's a good documentary by Aaron Rainen called "Did We Go?" And it's a very old documentary, but he did go and do a lot of research about the moon rocks, the laser reflectors. So this is a very good documentary. You know,
But
he
yeah, but do
believes
you
it was
know
a
if
hoax, and he did
But do you know if
research.
anybody has tried to analyze the rocks?
No, you would have to be working in a university or something to analyze them.
All right, well, let's carry on. Thank you guys for holding down the fort while I took a little sidestep. The old catheter fell out, so I didn't want to make a mess. And all right, I'm just messing around. Matters now: alpha and beta particles, aluminum and paper. All right. Now, just as a reference, I'm pretty sure the person that came up with the term alpha, I think it was my wife that said that he spent the rest of his life trying to disprove that whole theory about the alpha. But you guys can correct me in the live chat. Alpha and beta particles, aluminum and paper. That's from Matters Now. Any thoughts on our panel?
Yeah, alpha particles are the nucleus of a helium atom. Beta particles are electrons. Gamma or X-rays are photons. And so I don't know why you didn't answer those when I asked what are normal, because that's the answer to what are normal radiation. And then yes, galactic sources and solar coronal mass ejections. And solar coronal mass ejections are going to be uh, also alpha and beta particles. And then the galactic stuff will be particles that are um, the nucleus of any particular atom of that's stable enough to exist in for a long time. So the question I asked was about the quantity of them, but anyway, go ahead,
Any thoughts, Raza?
Rasa, if you have anything.
No, like I said, the Artemis 1 released their radiation readings, and you can see the big spike as they're passing through the Van Allen belts, and then there's a steady flow of radiation, and then when they drop down to the a low lunar orbit, then the radiation levels dropped down because the moon was protecting them. So we can see the Artemis readings. Now the question is whether or not that is going to kill a human being. Well, that's a very complex question. It depends on how cancer cells form in the body and things like that. So it is a long subject.
Cancer takes
But
years.
right.
So,
But you know,
but you're saying you're saying they would get cooked. That's different than cancer.
right.
That's radiation actively terminating quickly in a short amount of time. It takes a large quantity of radiation, certainly in the category of a lot, as you said. But you know, people are able to actually quantify these types of
Yeah, it's difficult to
radiation.
quantify. It depends on the person and their immune system. But according to from the theory which I'm putting forward is the reason that they had to fake the moon landing was because there's no way to protect astronauts from the radiation back then.
But you
But
don't know
now,
how much
thanks to,
radiation there is. You have
like
no
I said,
idea. By your own
it's
admission, you
difficult
don't
to
know.
quantify.
It's not difficult to
I know, but
quantify the
it's
amount of
not,
radiation. You
and
just
it's
referenced the
difficult,
Artemis mission that did quantify it.
right? According to their sensors, whatever sensors, the quantification
Yes.
depends on the sensor.
Yeah, good
Right.
job.
That's my point. So now whether or not Artemis 2 is actually going to send human beings to the moon or not, that remains to be seen. And one thing I know is that NASA has invested billions of dollars in new high-tech cancer treatments. So there's basically three things. You have the boron nitride nanotubes, which is the primary source of radiation protection. Then you have these bags of water. And then finally, when the astronauts come back, you have new high-tech cancer treatment methods. So this is why they're hoping Artemis 2 is actually going to be the first mission to send human beings beyond low Earth orbit.
Any closing thoughts there, Mike?
No.
All right. All that off of off the question there matters now. So thank you so much for that. And even after I made such a poor taste joke about the social alpha and beta, which is something I'm going to reference to make sure that I'm telling the truth, but also maybe a cool historical idea. But yeah, as for the side subject, let's get back into it. And Jessica says between 0.16 and 1.14 rads. And then they say in brackets 1.6 and 11.4 MGY. Google.
Those are quantifications of radiation.
Okay, thank you. I was going to say, I'm
So
not
this
sure what
is
Jessica's getting at here.
Well, let me try to answer. So these are the what I call the fox which guards the hen house. Of course, the NASA is going to tell you that these were the radiation readings and the astronauts could survive that. Of course, NASA is going to say that. What were the actual radiation readings? There wasn't any. They didn't send any people there anyway. So
Okay.
So I would ask, how do you even know that there's a lot of radiation if you just reject all of the measurements that have been done? You are claiming pure ignorance of any amount of radiation.
no, like I said, so here in China we have sent our own sensors and we have our own radiation readings. And as I said, China is not going to blow the whistle on NASA right
Well,
now.
can you link those citations to me?
Yeah, I can send you the.
Okay.
All right. Aeon Flutter coming in says, we have the technology to go, but chose not. Why?
I don't think I understand.
So is that the second to last super chat there?
We have, yeah, we got three more, so we can roll through them
Okay.
quickly if you guys don't
No,
have
no,
too
no.
much to say.
I'm just reading the one from Ion or Eon Flutter. Um, that started with calling intentionally calling me the wrong name. Is that the one?
No, this is
Yeah.
a later one. So we have the
Okay.
technology to go, but chose not. Why? Is the
Okay.
question from Aeon.
Okay. The reason why is because in April of 1972, Congress decided to fund the space shuttle program. And while Charlie Duke and John Young were on the moon, they told them that. It was like April 19, 2021, right in there. And they're all excited. Yay, Congress approved the shuttle program. Well, part of that then was canceling the funding for the Apollo missions. So all of that ended the Apollo missions. So they were excited about it without realizing that that was going to end the Apollo missions. That's why they didn't go back, because the money stopped being sent to NASA to do it.
Any thoughts,
So if you
Ross?
have an issue with it, take it up with Congress circa 1972.
Any thoughts, Ross, or you want to carry on?
Actually, I have a separate question for Mike if we have a minute. Just
Yeah, yeah, let's
I'm
do it.
good. Yeah,
I'm just curious. You said that Charlie Duke is not a Freemason, so how do you know
that's
that?
correct. Because I
How do you
asked
know
him.
that? And you just trust his answer.
Well, why would you think he's a Freemason with zero evidence?
Right.
And the all of the evidence to the contrary being either
Being
zero evidence for it, or if you had been there, I know I met him when he came to Minneapolis to speak, and I asked him. Uh, and
what about
obviously nobody was there, but whoever was there, and it wasn't televised. So
what about Neil Armstrong? He was also supposedly a Christian, not a Freemason.
okay,
So that's why I asked. It's new to me, Charlie Duke, that you've met him. That's nice to know.
yeah, I'll pull up a picture while we talk.
All right. Oh, let us get into the next chat here. And once again, if you haven't smacked the like button, why not? It's not going to hurt you. Like I said, it's not going to bite, and even if it does, it's only going to bite in a way that you like. You can take that from the other stream as well, because I think there's some other people tuning in on some other spaces. So, matters now. Let's see. They say, oh, before that one, Kango44 says, what's it? Why don't you off to Antarctica? I'll pay. Oh my parental filter kind of just slipped for a second there. I was supposed to go, that's, yeah. Anyway, there's only so much I can do. So, Kango44, you got a beef with Witsit, send us a message. Maybe you can have a conversation with them. Just, yeah, that might be a better way than telling people to F off to Antarctica.
Can I share screen? I'll show you the picture.
You can Sunny and share if you'd like, yeah.
There you go.
Hear that dad joke? That was awful.
Yep, it was really bad.
Yeah, I know.
All right.
There's a special place for people like me who make jokes like that. All right, we'll stop the screen share. We see you.
All right.
All right.
There you go.
Yes, you have proved that you weren't fibbing. All right. Aeon Flutter says MCToon. Aeon Flutter. Behave yourself. Do you have the technology to go back to the moon? If so, why haven't we gone back sooner? Plus, what causes the horizon, vision, or Earth curve? You got 4 questions.
So I already addressed why, is because the money ended. and do we have the technology? Well, the technology froze in place in 1972. Everything froze, and all of the things that were in progress were mothballed. So you don't just say, "Oh, let's go grab a 30-year-old rocket and jump in it." That's not how things work. You need to If you're going to just reuse something that was off the shelf for 40 years, that would be incredibly dangerous. It'd be very stupid to do. Um, but the other thing that I think a lot of people really miss is that the rules and potential, I don't know if it's rules or laws, but NASA has pretty strict rules for human spaceflight. And they're very different now than they were in the 60s. In the 60s, they were definitely cavalier about safety. And they're like, well, we're going to go. And hey, guys, there's a good chance you're going to, you know, die. So the but that's changed, right? So they don't get to do stuff the same way now as they did then. They have to be certified through some much more rigorous processes.
And also you can add to that, the goal is different, right? The Apollo mission's goal was just a few days trip, whereas now they're planning long-term
Yeah.
missions. This
Yeah,
is
that's their
is-
definite intention is to stay on the moon longer. And of course, if you go to Mars, which is definitely one of the things that they're talking about, you can't go to Mars for a couple days.
All right. Sounds like we're ready to move on. And we've only got, what, 2 more chats to go, and then we will
Oh,
do.
I did miss the other ones that were off topic, and I would be glad. Who was that? Aeon Flux?
Aeon
And
Flutter is the name.
Aeon Flutter. I would be glad to address those right here, live face to face on Modern Day Debate. What do you say,
Ooh.
Ryan? Would you host that?
If Aeon Flutter has enough they feel they can throw at you in that department, then sure, but I'm not sure what their
Let's go.
YouTube exposure is.
I don't know.
Of course, it would be much more obvious if we pitted you against Witsit, since they are here right now with the last question. Look at that face.
Oh, he won't.
Witsit.
He won't.
Witsit won't.
He's scared.
Witsit's not scared. Witsit, you're not scared? Come on. Don't snowflake out on me, buddy.
I'll happily do that that celestial navigation debate where I will give you 3 star angle measurements. You determine the observer's position using only flat Earth, and you do the same to me, and I'll only use the globe. It'll be great. Whoever gets the right position has obviously got the shape of the Earth figured out.
All right, Witsit, the challenge has been issued, and I am more than happy to host that debate. So, Witsit Gets It says, so if you see the document is real and the technology did not exist according to the CIA in 1964, then will you stop claiming it could not have been faked?
No, I don't know. He must not have paid it. He maybe didn't see the beginning where I did my presentation. My presentation wasn't even applicable to what he's talking about. So, yeah. But yeah, send it with it. Send me the citations.
All right, maybe send those along, and maybe also send an email to me or James, and we can get you guys having that conversation, because it seems like Witsit is trying to get at you. There you go, Witsit. You can make that a new short. Witsit Gets At somebody. Like, I'm helping you out here. Matters Now coming in with the last super chat. I want to debate what Antarctica is. Ocean, is that you? I swear. It could be
That's Ocean.
MXXD, but it's probably Ocean. All right. Well, thank you so much to our super chatters. That would be a potential fun debate for some. You guys can let us know in live chat. Let us know in the comments section.
I think Trey Hutchinson is the one that he needs to debate on that topic, because Trey thinks, and I'll quote, Antarctica is made of salt, boy, unquote.
Salty. All right.
I'm not kidding. That's what he said.
No need to be so salty there, Mike. That's fine. Yeah. All right. So, in usual fashion, I'll give you guys a minute to close your thoughts. Let me know.
Aaron Reese says you might have missed a super chat from him.
Aaron Reese. Let me just scroll up here.
All right. Make the scrolling up sound. I can help.
That's what it makes in the bedroom. That's exactly the sound. Aaron Reese says, Dr. Rasa, you keep saying. You know what? I got to be PR here. Aaron, I'm
Okay.
sorry. I'm sorry for missing your question. Aaron Reese says, Dr. Rasa, you keep saying it's not about you, but you've presented numerous arguments that rely solely on your credibility. How do you reconcile these two facts?
Okay, so like I said, whenever I'm talking about myself or my theories, this is unsubstantiated evidence. Take that with a grain of salt as you wish. But whenever I'm presenting NASA documents, it has nothing to do with who's presenting it. So then my credentials don't matter there.
All right. Any other thoughts there, Mike? Well, I'll be damned. Another super chat has flowed in, fellows. We must answer Danny Diesel's question. The helmets probably made of a 1/8 plexiglass. I don't know if that typo is a purposeful mistake, but the helmet's probably made of 1/8 plexiglass from Danny
Provably.
Diesel.
It says
Provably.
provably. Okay.
Provably. Oh, provably. Sorry. The caps, like, that throws me off, buddy.
Yeah.
I read that like a person's name. That's like doing applications for MasterCard because I did that for most of my life. Anyway, what a bad time. I think that's probably where we should call it though, and get into our closing statements. So in proper EU style, drives everybody crazy. 1 minute for you, Mike. Your closing thoughts on our conversation tonight, other discussions you'd like to have on modern day debate, and where everybody can find you.
All right. Well, thank you, Ryan, and Modern Day Debate, James, for hosting. Thank you, Rasa. It was good. It was good. And I know I jabbed you a little bit, but I like you, man. It's all right. You can find me on YouTube at Conspiracy Tunes, where I have pre-recorded videos, or at MCToon Live, where I'm streaming this currently right now. I do debate against the FE topic primarily, but this is a associate. It's an adjacent topic, so I cover it as well. I also do go after the insane people that think 5G has some nefarious backing to it. It does not. They're nutters. So you can find me debate. So if there's anybody that wants to take up that topic here, let James or Ryan know, and I'll debate you there too. There you go. Thank you.
Absolutely, that sounds like a ball. And yeah, definitely hit us up if that is something you'd like to tackle Mike on. So, Dr. Ross, your thoughts on tonight's discussion, other topics you'd like to discuss, and where everybody can find you, or where they can't find
Okay.
you, because we discussed that
Yeah,
earlier.
it is a little difficult to find me because I have a YouTube channel and I have a Facebook group, but both of them are shadow banned. So you search the names, you won't find it. But anyway, I'll spell it out. It's called Moon-Landing Hoax. Don't forget the hyphen. But even if you search the name, you won't find it because it's shadow banned. But hopefully, if you search hard enough, you can find the Moon Landing Hoax Facebook group and the Moon Landing Hoax YouTube channel. And thank you guys. And I'm very happy we had a nice civilized debate. And hope to see you guys again, maybe.
All right, excellent. Well, then we will close it out there. So thank you everybody for your super chats. Make sure you hit the like button. We really appreciate that. That helps us out, boost us up in the algorithm. And once again, we got lots of other debates coming up. And I'll close this out with some, lovely Ryan music that everybody may like or hate. But big round of virtual applause for Mike and Raza for having this discussion tonight. Thank you, everybody, once again for participating. We will see you next time. And as our doctor here at the channel, James Coon, says, keep sifting out the reasonable from the unreasonable. We appreciate you guys.